Chapter 284. Hearing Wu Lingyu whispering in her ear and even biting her ear, Sima Yuyu stomped her feet in anger. But he couldn't beat him, so the anger in his heart burned even brighter. Ah! Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yuyu, who was biting him with her head lowered, and a smile flashed in his eyes. Little junior brother, a gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists. How could you bite me? He tilted his body slightly and happened to present the scene of Sima Yuyu biting him for everyone to see. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Sima Yuyang rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Yuyu actually bit people. Sima Yuqing was stunned as well. The Sima family couldn't believe what they were seeing. Sima Yuyue was a pervert in their eyes, but she couldn't beat Wu Lingyu and was even forced to bite him. At the same time, everyone was also curious as to what kind of grudge she had against him for her to attack him the moment she saw him. Old Man Devil also looked over in surprise. However, he was surprised that Wu Lingyu was willing to let Sima Yuyue get close to him. He didn't even get angry when she bit him. This brat, he's never been so tolerant of me, his master. His sour tone revealed his current mood. Sima Yulin looked at the two of them and frowned. Sima Yuyang took out his fan, opened it and fanned himself, saying, Yuyu is like this, it's really rare. After Old Man Devil confirmed that the two of them would be fine, he turned his attention to the food. Well, this kid is right. The food she made today is even more delicious than yesterday's. Grandpa Devil, Yuyu's culinary skills aren't just for show. Now that you've taken in such a disciple, let's not talk about her talent for now. You'll be more fortunate than anyone else in the future. Sima Yuran said as he sat opposite Old Man Devil. Not bad, not bad. Old Man Devil was very happy that he had found such an obedient disciple. He had put a lot of effort into making these things. Bei Gong Tang finished cooking and placed it on the table. Old Man Devil took a bite and said, the taste is a bit worse than Yuyue's, but it's much better than other people's. Thank you, Grandpa Demon, for your praise. Bei Gong Tang smiled as she went to cook the remaining dishes. When Sima Yuyue and Wu Lingyu returned, Old Man Devil was almost done with his meal. Master, you didn't say that your eldest disciple was him. She sat down beside Old Man Devil and began to complain. Old Man Devil took out a toothpick and stuffed it into his mouth, asking, does it matter? It's very important. Sima Yue was extremely depressed. I have a grudge against him. Now that we're brothers, I'm going to suffer from internal injuries. Then you can find him to vent. Old Man Devil didn't care at all. But I can't beat him. Sima Yue felt wronged. You can use poison to poison him. Old Man Devil said. He said that normal poisons can't kill him because you always give him those useless things. Sima Yue said. That's true. This brat has already been trained by me to the point that he's almost immune to all poisons. Old Man Devil nodded. Then you can create a different kind of poison. I don't have that ability yet. No problem, just learn from Master. Old Man Devil said confidently. I guarantee that you'll be able to poison him in the future. But that's in the future. Sima Yue said. My heart is filled with anxiety right now. Then you can bite him again. Old Man Devil said. Brat, come here. Wu Lingyu walked over and said, Old man, what's up? He wasn't deaf. Naturally, he heard Old Man Devil giving Sima Yue a bad idea. Let your little junior take another bite. Old Man Devil said. Master, you've only known little junior for 2 days. How can you be so biased? Wu Lingyu wouldn't go over. Seeing Sima Yue's angry little face, he said, You already bit me just now. Are you still angry? As he said that, he rolled up his wide sleeves. 2 rows of teeth marks appeared right in front of everyone. Sima Yue had used a lot of strength. The 2 rows of teeth marks had already seeped into his flesh. Traces of blood seeped out. Wow, Yue, you're still the best. You've only just met him and you've already made him bleed. Not bad, not bad. Old Man Devil saw the teeth marks on Wu Lingyu's hand and smiled as he patted Sima Yue's shoulder. I haven't even bitten off a piece of flesh. Sima Yue was still unsatisfied with her masterpiece. Sai, I originally wanted to specially prepare a gift for our first meeting with little junior. Looking at you now, I don't think you want it. Wu Lingyu sighed and said. If it's a treasure, I'll take it. If it's not a treasure, I won't take it. Sima Yue said, let me take a look first. I'll decide if I want it or not. But you're still angry at me? Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue glared at him and said, if your gift is passable, then forget it. If it's not good enough, then we'll continue. Give it to me. Wu Lingyu smiled as he took out a box and threw it to Sima Yue. Sima Yue caught it and opened it. There was a piece of clothing that was as light as wings inside. Wow, 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 you're actually giving the divine cicada clothing to her. Before Sima Yue could say anything, Old Man Devil shouted first. Master, what's this? Sima Yue asked when she saw how agitated Old Man Devil was. This is a divine tool. When I asked him to give it to my friend's granddaughter, he refused no matter what. He didn't give me any face at all. Now that he's giving it to you, it hurts my heart too much. Old Man Devil howled. Divine tool. Sima Yue took out the clothing and looked at it. It looked a little like an inner garment, but the material looked a little like silver fish. I've heard people say before that the divine cicada clothing was fought over by various large sections. It was auctioned off at a shocking price. It's a good treasure. Bei Gong Tang said. If Bei Gong says it's a good treasure, then it's a treasure. Alright, I'll reluctantly accept your gift. Sima Yue said as she kept the item. Divine tools were still relatively rare now. Taking one would be a good thing. Since you've accepted my gift, you're not allowed to bite me in the future. Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Humph. Sima Yue ignored him. Disciple, have you prepared my gift for becoming your disciple? Old Man Devil asked. Of course I've prepared it. Sima Yue said. What is it? Old Man Devil was really looking forward to it. It had been a long time since someone had given him a gift. Of course, those who needed his help didn't count. Sima Yue stood up and walked behind Bei Gong Tang. She said to Old Man Devil, Master, what do you think of Bei Gong? Not bad. What? Now it's popular to buy things one get one free. Since you've accepted a disciple, you should do the same. Take Bei Gong as well. Sima Yue said with a smile. What? You want me to accept another disciple? Old Man Devil didn't expect Sima Yue to have such a plan. He shook his head. No, I don't want to accept so many disciples. It's enough that I have you two to play with. Chapter 285. Yue. Bei Gong Tang also did not think that Sima Yue would say this and was shocked. Sima Yue patted her shoulder and said, Master, Bei Gong's talent in alchemy is also very good. You won't lose out if you take him in as a disciple. That won't do either. Old Man Devil shook his head. Master, she's a good seedling. Do you want to miss this opportunity? Sima Yue continued to persuade him. Junior brother, Master only has the two of us as his disciples in his entire life. He's afraid of trouble. It's basically impossible for him to accept another disciple. Wu Lingyu knew Old Man Devil very well. If he didn't need a disciple to be his successor, he probably wouldn't have even accepted Sima Yue. Sima Yue was a little disappointed. She really wanted to recommend Bei Gong Tang to the Divine Devil Valley. This way, when they went up, Bei Gong Tang would have more confidence in saving her mother and brother. Old man, you can't accept her as a disciple, but you can recruit her into the valley. Wu Lingyu did not want to see Sima Yue disappointed and continued. Really? Sima Yue's eyes lit up when she heard that. She looked much more energetic. Master, can I? I can, but I want to see how her innate talent is. Not everyone can enter the Divine Devil Valley. Old Man Devil said. Sure. Sima Yue smiled and said, Bei Gong won't disappoint you. Then you should refine the highest ranked pill that you can currently refine. Old Man Devil said to Bei Gong Tang. Bei Gong Tang was stunned for a moment, then stood up excitedly saying, Okay. She took out the pill furnace and medicinal ingredients, took a deep breath, calmed herself down and began to refine the pill. Old Man Devil realized that Bei Gong Tang's method of refining pills was the same as Sima Yue's and asked, Did she learn from the same master as you? Definitely. She and Ouyang Yang were both taught by me. Sima Yue said, How is it Bei Gong isn't bad, right? She's indeed much better than those guys in the valley. Old Man Devil rarely praised someone. Sima Yue was extremely happy. That meant that Bei Gong Tang could enter the Divine Devil Valley. Master, I heard that our Divine Devil Valley has all kinds of occupations. Why don't you take them in too? Sima Yue pointed at Wei Wei and Fatty Chu. Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue blankly. Did she want to bring them into the Divine Devil Valley? During the day they already knew the position of the Divine Devil Valley in the upper continent. If they could enter, that would be the best. Old had Yue this brat Yue this. Sima Yue quickly smiled flatteringly saying, Master, I grew up with them. I've been living with them since I was 15. Since the Divine Devil Valley is so powerful, I naturally want them to enter. Master, please help me. Old Man Devil didn't expect her to be so honest and asked, What skills do they have? Ziqi can already tame divine beasts, Fatty Chu can refine saint tools, Ouyang Yang and Bei Gong Tang are equally good at refining pills. Yulin is an array master. Sima Yue replied, how is it, master, can you let them in too? Sima Yulin, who was standing in front of his tent, heard her call out his name. His gaze wavered and he lowered his head to hide his emotions. Brat, you know a lot of people. Old Man Devil said, I can give them a chance. Whether or not they can enter the Divine Devil Valley will depend on their strength. Just a chance. Sima Yue was not satisfied, saying, can't you let them in directly? You brat, even if I let them in, it's useless if they don't have a valley willing to accept them. Old Man Devil said. Junior brother, don't worry. With Master's suggestion, as long as their talents are passable, there won't be a problem. Wu Lingyu said, those martial uncles have lower requirements for these kinds of people. Alright then, having a chance is better than having no chance at all. Sima Yue did not force Old Man Devil, saying, but Ouyang Yang and Bei Gong Tang are both alchemists. Master can make the decision, right? If he's like what you said, there's no problem. But let me take a look first. Which one is he? Old Man Devil asked. He's from the South Eclipse Kingdom. He hasn't come yet. He'll come when the gathering starts. At that time, Master will assess him. Sima Yue said. After speaking, she looked at Wu Lingyu, grateful that he spoke up for her. Old Man Devil took out 4 tokens and threw them to Sima Yue, saying, give them to them. When the time comes to go up, take this to the Divine Devil Valley. There will naturally be people who will test them. Sima Yue happily threw the tokens to Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu, then ran in front of Sima Yue and handed the tokens to him. Here. Sima Yue looked at the smile on Sima Yue's face and took the tokens, saying, thank you, Yue. You don't have to be so polite. Sima Yue said with a smile, we're family. After speaking, she returned to Old Man Devil's side and chatted happily with him as they watched Bei Gong Tang refine pills. Bei Gong Tang only managed to successfully refine the pill in the middle of the night. She placed the refined pill in front of Old Man Devil. Old Man Devil glanced at it and took out a token for her, saying, this is the disciple's identity token. Wait till you go up and reach the Divine Devil Valley, then you can see who you want to be apprenticed to. Thank you, Grandpa Devil. Bei Gong Tang smiled as she kept the token. She was extremely moved and smiled gratefully at Sima Yue. She had actually become a disciple of the Divine Devil Valley. This was something that she had never dared to imagine before. Master, why don't I have a token? Sima Yue asked. I only have a disciple's token and I gave it to him. I haven't had time to make yours. When we go back, I'll get someone to make one for you. Old Man Devil said. Wu Lingyu took out a token and threw it to her, saying, I'll give you mine first. Then what do you use? Sima Yue asked as she caught the token. Senior brother, my face is the token. Wu Lingyu said narcissistically. Sima Yue thought that it was true. He often went in and out of the Divine Devil Valley and everyone knew him. Hence, she accepted the token with a clear conscience. This is the gift you prepared for me to become your disciple? Old Man Devil said. How could I? Since she had achieved her goal, Sima Yue took out a jade bottle and handed it to Old Man Devil. You're giving me a pill? Old Man Devil raised his eyebrows. Giving a pill to a pill master required more than just a little bit of guts. Master, take a look first. Sima Yue said while giggling. Old Man Devil saw her confident look and took the jade bottle. He opened it and sniffed. His eyes lit up and he impatiently poured out the pill. Spirit Recovery Pill. Even he was extremely surprised at this moment. He never thought that Sima Yue would actually give him such a pill. Chapter 286. The Spirit Recovery Pill, as its name implied, was a pill used to recover one's consciousness. Its grade was not very high, but it was quite rare because the ingredients required were quite harsh. Among them, the most difficult one was the main ingredient, the Earth Dragon Marrow. However, this wasn't a problem for Sima Yue. She didn't have the Earth Dragon Marrow, but she had the Soul Fluid, which was even more heaven-defying than the Earth Dragon Marrow. Using it to replace the Earth Dragon Marrow was not a problem at all. Master, I failed 7 times today. I only succeeded with Bei Gong Tang's help. How is it? Can I still impress you? Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil's shocked face with satisfaction. Old Man Devil kept the pill and said, Why would you want to give me this pill? Bei Gong said that you were once injured and injured your divine sense, causing you to be unable to refine pills to the next level. Furthermore, you even turned into this old man. That's why I wanted to refine such a pill for you. However, with my current strength, I still can't refine a 6th grade medicinal pill. I don't have enough spiritual energy, so every time I try to condense the pill, I fail at the last step. Fortunately, Bei Gong and I had a tacit understanding, and the two of us worked together to refine this pill. However, we only succeeded in refining one pill. Her alchemy level could already reach the level of a 6th grade alchemist, but because of the restriction of her strength, she had always been at the peak of 5th grade alchemy. Today, refining this spirit recovery pill really took some effort. You're considerate, Old Man Devil said, then looked at Bei Gong Tang. You came down from above, right? Yes, Grandpa Demon. Bei Gong Tang nodded. Bei Gong clan? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Bei Gong Tang replied. Her tone was a little stiff, and her gaze carried traces of hatred. Old Man Devil immediately understood many things and said, the Bei Gong clan's younger generation doesn't have anyone as talented as you. They've lost a treasure. Master, I added some scarlet honey into it when I was refining it. It is said that this thing can not only increase one's strength, but it can also make one stay young for a long time. Sima Yue said. Scarlet honey? You have scarlet honey? Old Man Devil's attention was immediately drawn over. Yeah, why is Master so excited? Sima Yue asked when she saw Old Man Devil's excited expression. How did you get this thing? Did you see the legendary scarlet bee? Do you still have any? Old Man Devil grabbed Sima Yue's hand and asked a few questions. Although the scarlet bees are rare, Master, you don't have to be so agitated. Sima Yue was so frightened by his expression that her hair stood on end. Junior brother, you don't know. The old man has been looking for this thing for many years, but he has never found it. He has asked me more than once if they are all dead. Otherwise, why can't he find it? The main reason we came down this time is to look for scarlet honey. Wu Lingyu explained for Old Man Devil. Yue, where did you get scarlet honey? Old Man Devil asked. My own bees produced it, Sima Yue said as she took out a big bottle of scarlet honey and asked, Master, how much do you want? Seeing her take out such a big bottle of scarlet honey at once, Old Man Devil was dumbfounded. Wu Lingyu couldn't remain calm either. So much scarlet honey, haha. Old Man Devil laughed happily, but was provoked by Sima Yue's next words. Master, don't be so agitated. We usually just drink this directly. If you want, I can give you another bottle. What a waste. How shameful. Old Man Devil snatched the scarlet honey from Sima Yue's hand, as if he was afraid that she would waste it again. Sima Yue didn't think that Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu would have such a big reaction after hearing about the scarlet honey. She said, How would I know that this thing is so precious? Junior brother, you said that this was produced by your scarlet bees? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Sima Yue moved her mind and a scarlet bee appeared in front of them. It really is a scarlet bee. Old Man Devil looked at the scarlet bee and said, Yue, how many of these little things do you have? A lot. Sima Yue replied. In these 2 years, the Scarlet Queen Bee had produced many scarlet bees. With the time difference in the Spirit Pagoda, there were many scarlet bees now. Then give me some. Old Man Devil said with a smile. Okay. Sima Yue agreed readily. Is 1,000 enough? 1,000? Old Man Devil thought that he was hallucinating and the jade bottle in his hand almost fell to the ground. Sima Yue saw Old Man Devil's expression and thought that he didn't think it was enough. She said, Master, I still have to provide this scarlet honey to the Sima family. I can't give it all at once. How about I give you 1,000 first and give you some next time? Cough cough, 100 is enough. Wu Lingyu said. Old Man Devil originally thought that Sima Yue would give him a few dozen, but he didn't expect Sima Yue to say such a number. He almost peed in his pants. Suddenly, he realized that she said she would give him some next time. You have the Scarlet Queen Bee? Yes. Sima Yue said as she called out the Scarlet Queen Bee. She said, These scarlet bees are her eggs. Wow, Yue, how did you get such a treasure? With this thing you can have as many scarlet bees as you want. The Scarlet Queen Bee also felt that the opponent was very strong, so it obediently stayed in Sima Yue's hands. Master, find something that can store life and I'll give it to you. Sima Yue said, Do you want to try this spirit recovery pill first? Okay. Old Man Devil said with a smile, I'll eat the spirit recovery pill first before refining the triple yuan pill. Master, when you refine the triple yuan pill, let Bei Gong come with you. Sima Yue took the opportunity to say. Okay, she can come with me when the time comes. He was in an extremely good mood and readily agreed to Sima Yue's request. Right, stinky brat, didn't you want to go to the Sophia Mountain Range? Now that you've seen your little junior brother, you can scram now. Old Man Devil said. I'm not going. Wu Lingyu said. The person he was looking for was here, why would he go to the Sophia Mountain Range? You stinky brat, are you messing with me? Old Man Devil said unhappily, "It's a good thing that your little junior brother is so considerate." Oh. Wu Lingyu said very honestly. He also didn't think that he would meet Sima Yue here. How could he be messing with him? "I'm too lazy to look at you. My eyes hurt. Yue, I'm going to find a place to take the spirit recovery pill. The two of you can protect me." As he spoke, he grabbed Sima Yue's shoulder and flashed to Bei Gong Tang's side. He grabbed her and brought them away. Wu Lingyu saw that the old man had left him like this and said unhappily, "Old man, you're so biased now." Sigh. As he spoke, he also flew away, not caring at all that the 10,000 Beast Mountain was not safe at night. Old Man Devil brought Sima Yue and flew for who knew how long before they arrived at a mountainside and found a cave to enter. "The two of you stay outside and guard me. I need 2 days to digest the spirit recovery pill." Chapter 287. "Alright master, don't worry. We will stand guard outside." Sima Yue pulled Bei Gong Tang out after she finished speaking. Old Man Devil took out the soul recovery pill. His eyes were cold as if he was looking at the time when he was injured. "Sure Taifeng, wait till I recover, I will personally pay you a visit." With that, he swallowed the pill and began to use his spiritual energy to catalyze the pill. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang stood guard outside the cave. They leisurely took out tables, chairs and tea sets and began to brew tea. "Yue, thank you," Bei Gong Tang said gratefully. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have become a member of the Divine Devil Valley." Bei Gong Tang said, "To a professional master, being able to enter the Divine Devil Valley is a great honor, and it's an extraordinary position. People from Divine Devil Valley will be treated more courteously if they are of the same rank." "That's because you're talented and hardworking," Sima Yue said, "otherwise even if I told master, he wouldn't let you in. Meeting you is the luckiest thing in my life," Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. "I feel very lucky to have met you guys," Sima Yue said. "I'm looking forward to seeing the Bei Gong family's expression when they see you." "What kind of expression could he have?" "My father treats us as enemies. He would definitely want to eat me if he saw me," Bei Gong Tang said self-deprecatingly. "Your family will definitely know that your father and aunt dared to treat you this way. However, they did not protect you. You must make them blind in the future," Sima Yue said. "Not all of them," Bei Gong Tang said. "My uncle treats me pretty well. It's a pity that his talent in alchemy isn't very good, so his position in the clan isn't very high. Back then it was all thanks to him that I managed to escape. In order to help me escape he was even injured. So I wonder how he's doing now." "Don't worry about it. It's been a long time since the incident happened. We can only wait for you to go up and check on the situation," Sima Yue comforted her. Bei Gong Tang smiled and lowered her head to drink her tea. Sima Yue supported her head with one hand and looked at the full moon in the sky. She said, "Along the way we've only been cultivating and cultivating. I don't think we've taken a good look at the scenery." "Why are you so sad today?" Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. "It's just a feeling." Sima Yue said, "I don't know where my parents are. Wait until we go up, then we'll go look for it together," Bei Gong Tang said. Yes. 2 days passed by in the blink of an eye. Because Old Man Devil had set up a barrier around himself, they couldn't sense the fluctuations inside. They went in to check on him twice and when they saw that he was fine they stood guard outside. Suddenly they felt the surrounding spiritual energy rushing towards them. Thinking that something had happened, they hurriedly went inside to take a look. However, they found that Old Man Devil's face was ruddy, and most of the wrinkles on his face had disappeared. Only his white hair was still as white as snow. The spirit chi surged to this place but it was isolated and then dispersed. Old Man Devil opened his eyes, his gaze sharper than before. "Master, how are you feeling?" Sima Yue asked worriedly. The phenomenon just now was too frightening, and the two of them thought that something had happened to Old Man Devil. However, seeing that his body was much better than before, it didn't seem like there was a problem. Old Man Devil waved his hand, and the barrier was removed. He stood up and moved his body saying, "I'm fine." "Then what was that phenomenon just now?" "My old injuries have been healed and I can advance in rank. However, the spiritual energy in this continent isn't suitable for me so I cut it off," Old Man Devil explained. "Cut off your advancement? Then won't it affect your cultivation in the future?" It was the first time Sima Yue heard that one could cut off one's advancement. "It's fine, I'll be fine when I reach the upper realm," Old Man Devil said. "Moreover, I've just recovered from my injuries. It's not good to advance in rank now." Sima Yue nodded. Since he said it was fine then it was fine. Master, since you've recovered, then when should we refine the 3 yuan pill? No rush, no rush. Give me something to eat first. I'll only have the energy to refine pills when I'm full. Old Man Devil said. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang both had a drop of cold sweat on their faces. Did he have to like eating so much? I've finally met someone who likes eating more than me. Sima Yue muttered. However, she resigned herself to her fate and went to cook for Old Man Devil. Bei Gong Tang came to help her. The two of them were originally very fast and there weren't many people this time. It didn't take long for them to make a table full of dishes. Alright, bring the soup over. I'll call Master over to eat. Sima Yue said. Alright, go ahead. Bei Gong Tang smiled. Old Man Devil went to the mountain peak while they were cooking. When Sima Yue went up, he was looking towards the direction of Dragon Reflection Mountain. Master, the food is ready. She went up and said. The ominous ground is about to appear. Old Man Devil seemed to be talking to himself, but also seemed to be talking to her. Master, what did you say? Sima Yue was shocked. Old Man Devil turned back to look at Sima Yue, then looked at the devil's snare bracelet on her wrist. After that, he turned back to look at Dragon Reflection Mountain and asked, Yue, what do you think Dragon Reflection Mountain looks like? They weren't close to Dragon Reflection Mountain, but to the two of them they could still roughly see it. Moreover, at this distance they could see the whole picture of Dragon Reflection Mountain. It looks like a dragon. Sima Yue said, especially when it connects with the surrounding mountains, it looks like a dragon's head. That's right. This place was originally a place of great fortune. However, after the passage of time, this place is about to become an ominous ground. Old Man Devil said. Master, is it related to the ominous beasts below? Sima Yue asked. So you knew. Old Man Devil wasn't surprised. The first time he saw her, she had kindly reminded him. Although she didn't say it clearly, Old Man Devil knew that she definitely knew something. Sima Yue shrugged her shoulders and said, I have an auspicious beast. It is more sensitive to the aura of these ominous beasts. Although the aura is very weak, it can still sense it. I don't know about anything else. I see. Auspicious beasts aren't common in this world. Even in the upper continents there aren't many of them. You're really lucky. Old Man Devil sighed. Senior brother has a Qilin. Sima Yue said, Master, what exactly is that thing below? Old Man Devil shook his head and said, I don't know. It's my first time here. I can only vaguely feel its aura. Master, when you look at Dragon Reflection Mountain and say that it will become an ominous ground, you mean that thing is below Dragon Reflection Mountain? Maybe, maybe not. Old Man Devil said, but I think that the spirit beasts that appear once every few years must have something to do with it. Maybe the people in Sacred City know something, or something is controlling it, so it has no choice but to send the spirit beast to destroy that place. Chapter 288. Sima Yue was shocked by Old Man Devil's words. That creature was actually able to command the entire 10,000 Beast Mountain spiritual beasts to attack the Holy City. How powerful was this? When I was in the Holy City, I heard the Pavilion Master tell the stinky brat that the 10,000 Beast Mountain is getting closer and closer to each other, and the duration is getting longer and longer. I think that thing might be getting stronger and maybe it will break out of its shackles soon. I'm really curious about what it is, the old devil guessed. If the Holy City really exists for that guy, it means that it has existed for a very long time. To be able to live for so long, how powerful must he be? Sima Yue was frightened by her own thoughts. The old devil was also awestruck. Maybe it's even more powerful than those things above. He might even be comparable to the ancient race. One is the 10,000 Beast Mountain, one is the sea region. Is the Yilin continent really going to fall into chaos? Sima Yue murmured. She was worried that her grandfather and the rest would be in danger if they continued to live on this continent. See, is there something there too? Old Man Devil was a little surprised. It was already inconceivable for a continent to have one such existence. If there were two of them, then the future would be chaotic. Sima Yue told him about what happened when she went to Forgotten Worry Island to look for herbs. She also said that she obtained the Scarlet Queen Bee there. After Old Man Devil heard this, he pondered for a moment and said, if it's as you say, then that thing should belong to the Dark Clan. I don't know who left it on this continent. Master. Sima Yue felt that someone was approaching and turned around to see Bei Gong Tang walking over. Yue, Grandpa Demon, the food will get cold if we don't go back now, Bei Gong Tang said. She waited below for a long time, but the two of them did not come down, so she personally came to call them. Let's go, it's time to eat. Old Man Devil said, what did you make for me today? I made a lot. I'm sure your stomach will be bloated. Sima Yue stopped worrying and said with a smile. She was also quite optimistic. No matter what would happen in the continent, it would be many years later. No one knew what would happen in the next few years. Instead of worrying, it was better to improve her strength. At the very least, she could bring the Sima family to the upper realm before she left. Old Man Devil praised them as he ate. Your skills are so much better than the ones in the restaurants above. I wonder what kind of delicacies the spirit race will make. Spirit tribe? This was the first time Sima Yue had heard of this term. She did not understand. Humans aren't the only ones up there. Many spirit beasts have formed a race as well. Because of their great strength, they are on par with humans. In other words, humans are just one of the many races in the upper realm. Old Man Devil said. What? Sima Yue was stunned. Aren't humans ruling the world? You could say that because there aren't many astrals in each race, and the humans have the absolute advantage in terms of numbers. However, it can also be said that the human race and the spirit race are on par because there are many different types of spirit race. Old Man Devil said. Sima Yue did not expect the upper realm to be like this. Humans and spirit race living together broke her previous world's view. What are the spirit race like? She asked curiously. They aren't much different from humans. They always say that humans are weak, but many of them choose to take human form. Bei Gong Tang said. However, many of them are still beast. You'll know what it's like up there. Old Man Devil said as he gnawed on a bone. Sima Yue nodded. There was no point in saying more, and it would affect her Dao heart. Alright, Master, who are you refining the 3 yuan pill for? Your senior brother. Old Man Devil said. After gnawing on the last bone, he wiped his hands and said, I'm full. I'll go and digest it. When I'm back, we'll start refining pills. After he finished speaking, a black shadow flashed and he disappeared. However, Sima Yue acted as if she did not see him leave. She sat in her seat and stared blankly. Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yue and asked, Yue, what's wrong? Nothing. Clean up this place. I'll leave for a while. Sima Yue said as she stood up and walked towards the mountain peak. What's wrong with her? Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. She had never seen her like this before. Sima Yue arrived at the mountain peak and found a rock to sit on. She looked at the devil's snare bracelet on her hand and thought deeply. After a while she asked, Senior Martial Brother is your reincarnated soul, isn't he? After a while, Emosha finally said one word, yes. As expected. Sima Yue said, the 3 yuan pill is a forbidden pill for people with incomplete souls. Master said that this pill was prepared for Senior Brother. This means that Senior Brother's soul is incomplete. You also said that Master has the aura of your reincarnated soul. Therefore, Senior Brother is your other half. You're really meticulous. Emosha said. Sima Yue thought about how she met Wu Lingyu a few years ago when she got Emosha. She guessed that Wu Lingyu followed Emosha's aura to Puluo mountain range. It was a pity that she kept Emosha and the Spirit Pearl, causing the two of them to miss each other for so many years. Then what do you plan to do after this? Sima Yue asked hesitantly. Emosha was silent. Maybe even he did not think that it would be so easy to find his reincarnated soul. After a while, Sima Yue heard his reply. Fusion. This is inevitable. Otherwise he won't be able to live. Why? Because as his strength grows, his soul will not be able to support his body. It will become weaker and weaker until it disappears. Emosha said. Disappears? Sima Yue was shocked, saying, from the time you died until now, it's already been over 10,000 years. You must have reincarnated more than once. Why would you disappear now? Nothing is eternal. Emosha said, moreover, that's only a small part of my soul. Every time I reincarnate, my soul's strength will weaken a little. When I die again, my soul's strength will not be enough to reincarnate, so it will naturally disappear. Then what if it's all of your soul? Sima Yue asked. If you can remember your past memories after reincarnating, your complete soul will naturally be able to cultivate the spirit incantation again. Everything will start over. Emosha said. Then what if the person who reincarnated a few times is not especially powerful? Sima Yue was shocked. If there were many people like him, wouldn't this world be turned upside down? No. Even if the soul can remember his past memories, his strength can only be cultivated from the beginning. However, this person's soul will be stronger than others. Emosha said, moreover, there are only a few people in history who can cultivate to this level. Sima Yue was speechless. Was he praising himself? Chapter 289. Then when do you plan to fuse? She asked. No rush, the conditions aren't ripe yet. Emosha said. Conditions? What are your conditions? Could it be that he still had to wait for the right time, place, and people? Emosha understood the doubts in her heart and said, he can't right now and neither can you. Can I do it? Sima Yue glared at her. Why were her words so ambiguous? Fortunately she was not a man. Otherwise she would be depressed to death if she heard this. Your strength isn't enough. Forcefully removing our relationship, even if you don't die you'll be crippled. Emosha said. Sima Yue opened her mouth wide. So dangerous? Recalling that he said Wu Lingyu couldn't do it either, she asked, then what about senior martial brother? Why couldn't he do it either? His strength has increased too quickly and his soul is already very weak. If we fuse now he will directly turn into ashes, and I won't be able to obtain the complete soul, so I will also end up in the same situation. Emosha said. Sima Yue was speechless. She had found him but she could not fuse with him. What do we do now? She asked. Increase your strength and nourish his soul. Emosha said. You want me to nourish his soul? Sima Yue was not happy. Although that guy is my senior brother, he's still very annoying. What if I don't miss him? You have no choice. Emosha said. Life is really full of helplessness. Sima Yue sighed. I wonder what will happen if Master and eldest senior brother find out about you. Do you think we should tell them? What do you think? Emosha asked back, but his tone was rather certain. Sai, with how smart they are, they'll definitely notice if I give senior brother the soul fluid. I better be honest with them. Sima Yue tugged at her hair, unwilling to give up. Wu Lingyu had taken advantage of her, but now she had to save him. She was a conservative person in her previous life. Just thinking about it made her panic. Sigh. She let out a long sigh, but the depression in her heart still couldn't be spat out. When she heard Old Man Devil's voice from the bottom of the mountain, she knew that he had returned. She then got up and went down the mountain. Yue, where did you go? Bei Gong Tang asked when she saw that Sima Yue had returned. I just enjoyed the breeze at the top of the mountain. Sima Yue saw Bei Gong Tang's concerned expression and shook her head to indicate that she was fine. Seeing Old Man Devil, she sighed in her heart. If he knew that his two disciples were related to Emosha, she didn't know how he would react. Since you're back, let's begin. Old Man Devil said as he took out a cauldron and began refining. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang stared at Old Man Devil as he refined pills. This was their first time seeing a 9th-grade alchemist refine pills, and they could learn a lot from it. Refining the 3-yuan pill required hundreds of medicinal herbs, and they were all related to the soul. It was more difficult to refine them than other medicinal herbs. However, Old Man Devil's movements were very casual. He threw medicinal herbs one by one into the cauldron as if they didn't cost anything. He didn't even worry that he wouldn't refine them properly. Furthermore, after refining one medicinal herb, he would use his spiritual energy to wrap it in the cauldron. He wouldn't take it out to refine the other herbs. Now that his spiritual energy was fused with the essence, it would weaken the medicinal effect. Hence, he could only wrap it up and not fuse it together. Although it looked simple, it required a lot of skill from the alchemist. You can do that too. Sima Yue touched her chin, learning how to control it. After refining the medicinal herbs, Old Man Devil began to fuse them together. This process was very slow and he only finished after 3 to 4 hours. After that, during the pill refining stage, Old Man Devil became casual again. However, each of his hand seals were complicated and complicated. Streaks of spiritual energy were injected into the cauldron as he moved. The two who were watching were dazzled and couldn't even see his movements clearly. Just as he was refining the pill, the sky suddenly became gloomy. A thundercloud slowly condensed in the sky above them. Pill tribulation. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang cried out in surprise. Refining the triple yuan pill actually attracted heavenly lightning. This meant that this pill was at least a 7th-rank pill. Old Man Devil also saw the tribulation cloud in the sky, but he didn't take it to heart. He continued to refine the pill. The pill fragrance is coming out. Sima Yue said as she smelled a delicate fragrance. Bei Gong Tang also smelled the pill fragrance. Just by smelling it, she felt as if her soul was being nourished. It was an indescribable comfort. If she ate this pill, she didn't know what effect it would have. Rise! Old Man Devil shouted. A streak of spiritual energy wrapped around the 3 pills and rushed out of the cauldron. At this moment, the tribulation cloud continuously struck down 3 streaks of lightning, directly hitting the 3 pills. Old Man Devil leaped up and waved his left hand, wrapping the 3 pills. His right hand continuously attacked 4 times, directly dispersing the 3 streaks of lightning. The last one hit the tribulation cloud and then, the tribulation cloud escaped. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang's eyes widened as they stared straight at Old Man Devil. Their jaws almost dropped to the ground. So awesome. Sima Yue said in a daze. Spiritual energy directly blew the pill cloud away. Bei Gong Tang had also never seen such an awesome person. In the past there were people in the clan who refined pills. She saw the strange scene from a remote courtyard. At that time they took out their spiritual weapons to block the tribulation, but Old Man Devil used his own strength to easily blow the tribulation cloud away. He was really too strong. Old Man Devil landed on the ground and took out a jade bottle to store the 3 pills. He kept it satisfactorily. Haha, I've completed my main goal here. Old Man Devil laughed loudly. Sima Yue could feel that he was really happy. She knew that he was happy because Wu Lingyu was able to extend his life. She sighed in her heart. Although he kept calling Wu Lingyu a stinky brat, he really cared about that guy. She touched the devil's snare bracelet and felt a little more confident. Alright, let's go back. Old Man Devil said as he kept the pill furnace. Master, aren't you going to give the pills to senior brother? Sima Yue asked. Although Wu Lingyu looked fine, she knew that his situation was very bad. His soul was extremely weak. How can I be the one to look for that brat? I feel uncomfortable when I see those swindlers from the Sage Pavilion. Old Man Devil said as he took out a crystal clear stone. He inserted spiritual energy into it and the stone emitted a bright light. Stinky brat, get your ass to Dragon Reflection Mountain. He shouted at the stone. Very quickly Wu Lingyu's voice came from the stone saying, Old man, I'm busy right now. I'll look for you in a bit. Sima Yue was stunned again. What kind of stone was this? It was so magical. It was like a mobile phone. You better hurry up. Otherwise, the good stuff will be given to your junior brother. Old Man Devil said unhappily. Alright. Sima Yue said with a smile. On the other side, Wu Lingyu heard Sima Yue's voice and seemed to see her squinting eyes. He smiled faintly and said, Do you want to bite me again? Sima Yue was furious. Was this guy saying that she stole his things and he was going to take advantage of her again? Chapter 290. You brat, get over here right now. Old Man Devil roared and cut off the connection. Please remember our website, Beach Novels. Sima Yue's eyes lit up as she looked at the stone in his hand. Master, what kind of treasure is this? Old Man Devil saw that Sima Yue was almost drooling and said, This stupid rock? This was a treasure? Ignorant. Sima Yue pouted after being scolded by him. I've never seen it before. What the hell is this? Mother-son stone. Old Man Devil said, The mother-son stone and mother-son stone can communicate like this. So it can only be one-on-one? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Old Man Devil said. Master, do you have more? Give me a bunch. Sima Yue giggled. Sure, there are a lot of these things in the Divine Devil Valley. Old Man Devil replied readily. The corner of Bei Gong Tang's mouth twitched. She knew about this item. Although it wasn't as precious as Sima Yue thought, it definitely wasn't as useless as what Old Man Devil said. It was still relatively rare. Now that Sima Yue had opened her mouth and Old Man Devil had agreed so easily, what would the higher-ups think if they heard this? He didn't expect Old Man Devil to really take out a bunch of them. There were at least 20 or 30 of them. Sima Yue hugged a pile of stones and said happily, Each of us gets one and each of our brothers gets one. I am master, these are not enough for each of us. When you reach the Divine Devil Valley you can look for another one. You can contact many people. I don't usually use it so I didn't bring it with me. Old Man Devil said. Alright, let's go back now. With that, he brought the 2 of them back to Dragon Reflection Mountain. You're finally back. Sima Yu saw that Sima Yu had returned and stepped forward to pat her on the shoulder. Sima Yu saw that there were fewer people in the campsite and asked, Where are the others? He went to the mountains to gain experience. Sima Yu said. Then why didn't you go? We just came back today. Sima Yu said, We'll rest for a day before going. Are you done with your business? Yes, Master has already eaten the pill. The 3 yuan pill has also been refined. Sima Yue said. Sister, where did you go? You didn't bring Rainbow along. Rainbow flew out and landed on Sima Yue's shoulder. Sima Yue touched Rainbow and asked, Where's your husband? He left me here and left by himself. Rainbow complained bitterly about Halcyon's evil deeds. He left. Where did he go? Sima Yue asked in surprise. He didn't say. He just told me to wait for you here. He will be back in 2 days. Rainbow said. Sister, did he go to some dangerous place? It's possible, Sima Yue said. He didn't even bring you along, which means that the place he went to is very dangerous. He can't guarantee your safety. Was her husband in danger? Sister, what should we do now? Rainbow cried out worriedly. Let's wait and see. Sima Yue said. If she guessed correctly, Chongming should have gone to that place. Sister, will hubby be okay? Rainbow asked worriedly. There shouldn't be any problems. Sima Yue comforted. Didn't he say that he would be back in 2 days? You have to believe in him. I got it. Rainbow said dejectedly. After a few hours, Wu Lingyu came. Seeing Old Man Devil eating again, he said, You've gained weight recently. How is that possible? I didn't gain weight even after eating so many spirit clansmen. Old Man Devil threw the bone in his hand over. Wu Lingyu dodged it. Give it to me. Wu Lingyu walked over and said. Old Man Devil took out a jade bottle and threw it to Wu Lingyu, saying, Just 3, it should last you 3 years. Wu Lingyu didn't even look at the jade bottle and kept it, saying, I guess that you finished refining when I saw the pill tribulation during the day. 3 years. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu didn't have any sadness on their faces. She lowered her head, then raised it up and asked, Senior brother, what's wrong? Wu Lingyu came to her side when she lowered her head. Hearing her question, he reached out and touched her head, saying, Junior brother, if I'm not here, you have to take good care of this old man. Sima Yue slapped his hand away, saying, Don't touch my head. You have to find it in these 3 years. I'll go up and find a divinator to see if there's any help. Old Man Devil said. No need, that divinator is your nemesis. Even if you find him, he might not tell you. Wu Lingyu took out a rocking chair and placed it by the lake, saying, If it was originally in the Yilin continent and he said it was in the empty continent, where would I find it? Since you sensed it in the Yilin continent, it should still be in this continent. Old Man Devil said. I know that, but it's a pity that my soul is much weaker than before. I can't sense its existence anymore. Wu Lingyu said regretfully. Were the heavens really only giving him these few years to live? Maybe you'll be able to sense it again after you eat the 3 yuan pill. Old Man Devil frowned, feeling a little anxious. Sima Yue sat at the side with her head lowered. After Wu Lingyu came, Old Man Devil casually cast a barrier. Although the Sima family could see them, they couldn't hear what they were saying. She quietly listened to their conversation. They didn't hide anything from her, which could be considered as a sign of their trust in her. That master. She raised her head and looked at Old Man Devil, saying, I know where the other half of Senior Brother's soul is. Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu were shocked. Although they didn't hide anything from her, they didn't say that they were looking for the other half of Wu Lingyu's soul. How did she know? Yue, what did you say? Old Man Devil's eyes flashed, his expression complicated. Sima Yu saw the look in his eyes and wasn't surprised by his thoughts. After all, Wu Lingyu was a child that he raised, so he definitely treasured him very much. However, she knew their secret. If she couldn't come up with a proper reason, she was afraid that he wouldn't let her off easily. I said, I know that Senior Brother's soul isn't complete. His strength has been increasing these years, but his soul is getting weaker and weaker. You're looking for the other half of his soul. Sima Yue told them everything she knew. Also, I know where the soul you're looking for is. How do you know all this? Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue looked at the Sima family and said, Let's find a place to talk. Old Man Devil stopped eating and brought Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu away from the small lake. They went to the top of a mountain not far away. After confirming that there was no one around, he put them down and cast a barrier. He looked at her and asked, How do you know all this? Sima Yue sighed and said, Because the other half of his soul is with me. Chapter 291. I'm in love with literature to provide you with the full text of Crazy Wife. Miracle Doctor 5th Miss. Click on the Reading History menu in the upper right corner to find the chapters you have read. It's easier to catch up with books. What? Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu both looked at her in shock. She actually had the other half of her soul? What was going on? Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil and said, Master, you'd better make a barrier so that we can't be seen. Old Man Devil guessed what she was going to do. With a wave of his hand, the scene in front of Sima Yue changed. She felt like she was in a milky white space and she couldn't even see the people outside. Alright, now the people outside can't see us. Old Man Devil said. You can let him out now. Sima Yue nodded and touched the devil's snare bracelet. Are you still not coming out? Old Man Devil's heart skipped a beat when he saw her talking to the bracelet. Could it be what he was thinking? Black mist seeped out of the bracelet, causing Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu's hearts to skip a beat. Black mist, dark race. Sima Yue saw their reactions and knew that they were frightened. Mo Sha's figure slowly took shape. Fiery red clothes, fiery red hair, and red eyes looked at Wu Lingyu. When Wu Lingyu saw Mo Sha, the reaction from his soul made his body tremble. He also looked straight at Mo Sha. Old Man Devil saw his reaction and knew he wasn't wrong. He sighed. He really is from the dark race. Sima Yue was ignored by the three of them, but she did not want to participate in their conversation. Are we really the same person? Wu Lingyu looked at Mo Sha and felt that this feeling was a bit strange. However, anyone who saw the other half of the soul would feel unnatural. I always thought that your other half would also be a life. I didn't expect it to be just a soul. Old Man Devil said as he turned to look at Mo Sha. He clicked his tongue and exclaimed, a spirit body can actually exist in a physical body. How strong was your spirit when you were alive? He's an old monster. Sima Yue said, he's been around for at least 100,000 years. Old Man Devil looked at Mo Sha and felt that the more he looked, the more familiar he felt, saying, why do I feel that your appearance is somewhat familiar? What's your name? Mo Sha. Mo Sha is a good name. Old Man Devil nodded as he spoke. Following which, his eyes widened as he stared at Mo Sha. He said excitedly, you said you're called Mo Sha? Mo Sha nodded. Why did he have such a reaction? Ah, it can't be. Old Man Devil suddenly laughed out loud. You're the sovereign devil from back then? I didn't expect to see you with my own eyes. Sima Yue was dumbfounded. Mo Sha was the demon king that Old Man Devil mentioned? Where did this guy come from? Master, who exactly is the sovereign devil? She asked. You don't know? Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yue. Weren't they together? He didn't tell me, Sima Yue said. Haha, I'll tell you later. Old Man Devil said. Then he looked at the two who were still staring at each other and said, since the soul has been found, then we don't have to use the 3 yuan pill anymore. No. Mo Sha said. What? Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu didn't understand. Didn't he want to merge with them? You tell them. Mo Sha said as he returned to the devil's snare ring. Your soul is too weak right now. You can't merge with him. Sima Yue knew that Mo Sha didn't like to explain himself and said, moreover, he can't leave me now. Can't leave you? Wu Lingyu narrowed his eyes. This sentence made him unhappy. Sima Yue nodded and said, Mo Sha and I have a contract. He said that my current strength isn't enough. If I forcefully break it, even if I don't die, I'll be crippled and he won't be able to live either. Moreover, you need time to recover your soul strength. You have a contract with him? Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yue in astonishment. That was a great devil from tens of thousands of years ago. How could he have a contract with a little girl like her? Sima Yue rubbed her nose and said, it was just a coincidence. Then she explained how she had a contract with Mo Sha. Old Man Devil couldn't help but sigh. No wonder I couldn't find him when I went to Puluo mountain range. Wu Lingyu said, I missed him for so many years by a freak combination of factors, but I met you at that time. Humph, I'd rather not have met you. Sima Yue snorted coldly. Ah. Wu Lingyu saw her like this and was in a good mood. So that's how you met. Old Man Devil said, that's not right. Didn't you say that you were saved by a little girl the last time you came back? Old man, when did you become so stupid? Didn't you see that she was wearing young Martial Uncle's illusion ring? Wu Lingyu looked at him with disdain. He thought that Old Man Devil had noticed this long ago. Old Man Devil pulled Sima Yue's hand over and looked. Indeed, he saw an illusion ring. This was refined by Old Man Devil? How could he have the time to refine an illusion ring? He mumbled. He refined it when he lost the bet with you. Wu Lingyu said, he gave it to you, you glanced at it and then casually threw it to me. I was wondering why I didn't have any impression of it. Old Man Devil said, so you're a girl. Sima Yue nodded. Looking at him, he wouldn't abandon her as his disciple just because she was a girl, would he? Master, you're not going back on your words, right? She asked carefully. Back on what? Old Man Devil said, although this is a bit unexpected, I've already accepted you. No matter what, you'll be my successor in the future. That old woman took in a genius girl and showed off in front of me all day. When you go up, you must blind that old woman's eyes, understand? Sima Yue grinned and said, yes, master. Speaking of which, he said that he wanted to nourish that stinky brat's soul. However, I've tried all these years, but his soul is getting weaker and weaker. Looks like we have to think of another way. Old Man Devil said worriedly. Thinking of this, he felt a bit uncertain. Master, don't worry. When I met Emosha, he was much weaker than he is now. Didn't I feed him until he was white and chubby? Leave the matter of nourishing Senior's soul to me. Sima Yue patted her chest and said, You have an idea? Of course. Sima Yue said. What idea? I have an idea. Sima Yue said, keeping him in suspense. Old Man Devil slapped her head and said, You're keeping me in suspense in front of us. Do you want Master to punish you? Sima Yue rubbed her aching head and pouted, saying, It hurts. Wu Lingyu smiled and said, This old man is impatient. You'll know in the future. Sima Yue glared at him. No matter how you looked at his smile, it seemed like he was taking pleasure in her misfortune. Hurry up and say it. What idea? Old Man Devil waved his hand again. Sima Yue hugged her head and jumped back, saying, Don't hit me. I'll tell you. She took out a jade bottle and handed it to Old Man Devil, saying, Let him eat this. What is this? Old Man Devil opened the jade bottle and smelled it. He felt that his spiritual sense was somewhat stirred. Wu Lingyu also smelled it. His weak soul seemed to have recovered quite a bit. Crazy Wife, Godly Dr. Wu Xiaojia's latest chapter / welcome to bookstore. The fun of books lies in sharing. Click the icon to share this book. The more you share it, the faster it will be updated. Chapter 292. What is this? How can it have such a great effect on the soul? Wu Lingyu asked. Soul fluid is extremely effective for the soul and spiritual power. Sima Yue said, Back then Emosha had a lot. I used this to help him recover bit by bit. It's so effective. Wu Lingyu was curious about the soul fluid. When he met Emosha just now, he felt how strong his soul was. He didn't think that he would actually use this to recover. That's right. After tens of thousands of years, even if his soul is strong, it can't be as strong as it is now. Old Man Devil said, and then looked at Sima Yue with a smile. My good disciple, do you have a lot of these things? Give me some too. Didn't you want to kill me just now? Sima Yue said. Old Man Devil was quite thick-skinned. Your senior brother's missing soul has always been a secret. When you suddenly mentioned it, I thought you were from the 10,000 Flower Valley and approached us with ill intentions. Now that I know you're not, you're still my good disciple. Sima Yue snorted, still pulling a long face. I am my good disciple, don't be so calculative with your master. Old Man Devil actually pulled Sima Yue's sleeves and acted coquettishly, causing his two disciples to have goosebumps. Master, you have to compensate me for my mental loss. Sima Yue said. Sure, when you go to the Divine Devil Valley you can take whatever you want. Old Man Devil agreed readily. You said that day that it was a meeting gift, not compensation. Sima Yue said. Then what kind of compensation do you want? Old Man Devil tugged at his white hair and said, Why don't you tell me? How would I know what you have? Sima Yue's face darkened. Old man, why don't you give her your thumb ring? Wu Lingyu suggested. That's fine. It'll be hers sooner or later anyway. Old Man Devil nodded. What's the use of this thumb ring? Sima Yue asked. You can mobilize a portion of the Divine Devil Valley's power. Old Man Devil said. It represents power. Moreover, they can mobilize some forces in some cities. So powerful. Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil and said, Don't tell me this is your Divine Devil Valley Lord's signature item? Of course not. Even if I wanted to give it to you, you wouldn't be able to wear it. Old Man Devil said. What? Did a thumb ring have a request? Of course it's dangerous, Wu Lingyu said. Then what is the thumb ring you were talking about? She asked. This. Old Man Devil took out a thumb ring and gave it to Sima Yue. See if you can put this on. Sima Yue took the ring and looked at it. There was a skull engraved on the surface of the blood-red agate, and there were 2 drops of blood in between the 2 eye sockets of the skull. Why does this thing look so evil? Don't tell me they're from the demon race? She looked up and asked. Turn it upside down and see. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue did it suspiciously, then her eyes widened. This time I've turned into a fairy? How magical, how did you do it? Don't be so curious. Old Man Devil said, This ring chooses its owner. Most people can't wear it. Try it. Sima Yue put the thumb ring on her left thumb and immediately felt a cool aura pass from her finger to her brain. But before she could say how comfortable it was, a hot aura attacked her. Cold and hot intertwined on her body, as if they were fighting for her body. Suddenly she felt as if her soul flew up and then fell back down. The surrounding scenery quickly receded, and when she got used to the situation in front of her, she found that she was no longer on the mountain. Where is this? There's movement. She felt a spiritual energy fluctuation in the distance and decided to go over to check it out. She also wanted to see if she could find someone to ask where she was. Sima Yue kept walking forward, and only when she felt that her legs were weak did she manage to climb over the mountain in front of her. There's no one, she muttered. Then where did the fluctuations come from? She continued to walk forward, and felt that her consciousness was slowly dissipating. What's going on? I can't fall asleep. Her intuition told her that she couldn't faint, so she bit hard on her lips and used the pain to stimulate her nerves. What is light? What is darkness? In a daze, a man's sharp voice sounded, like a dry string being pulled. Sima Yue felt that her dizzy brain was stimulated and became much more awake. What is right? What is wrong? A pleasant voice broke through the air, carrying a sigh. Sima Yue felt a wave of clarity, and the scenery around her changed. She came to a snowy land, and saw a skull and a beautiful woman confronting each other in the snow. What I think is right, the skull said, as if answering the woman's question. Only light should be left in the world, and darkness should be chased away, the woman said. Suddenly, the two of them turned to look at Sima Yue and asked, what do you think is right, what is wrong, what is light, and what is darkness? Sima Yue looked at the two of them, and felt that they were very similar to the two people on the thumb ring. When the two of them looked at her, she felt that her soul was trembling. Hurry up and answer, the skull shouted. Little friend, take your time to think. The woman smiled gently. Sima Yue took a deep breath and said, there is no absolute right or wrong in the world. The same thing can be seen from different angles. To put it simply, if someone kills your family and you take revenge and kill that person, to you this is right, but to that person's descendants you are wrong. Light and darkness, which one should exist? The two of them asked at the same time, as if she had to choose one. Light and darkness depend on each other, and neither can leave the other. Sima Yue said, where there is light, there will be darkness, and where there is despair, there will also be hope. Nonsense, how can light and darkness exist at the same time? This time even the woman was angry. Sima Yue was not anxious and pointed to the vast snow and asked, everywhere is white, doesn't it look clean? But what about below? She squatted down and dug the snow away, and there was a patch of mud below. There's more. She released a wisp of flame and took out a wooden board and said, in front of the board is light, but what about behind it? It's a patch of darkness. The skull and the woman did not speak and looked as if they were deep in thought. Sima Yue kept the flame and said, let's talk about the most common, day and night. Can you say that the world can only have day or darkness? She originally thought that the two of them would refute her, but unexpectedly the woman smiled and said, very good, your thinking is very correct. You can't generalize everything, whether it's right or wrong, light or darkness. Nothing is absolute. You have passed the test, go. Before Sima Yue could react, she felt dizzy. When she opened her eyes, she saw Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu looking at her in shock. Chapter 293. Master, senior brother, why are you looking at me like that? She looked at the two of them and rubbed the space between her eyebrows. She still felt a little dizzy. What did you just see? Old Man Devil asked curiously. I saw a skull and a beauty. Sima Yue said, by the way, I think I went to a very strange place just now. Did you see it? You saw a beauty and a skull? The two of them were shocked. They were frightened by her words. Yes, look, it's the skeleton and the beauty on this one. She pointed at the thumb ring, only to find that it had become as big as her thumb. This thing has become smaller. That means it recognizes you. Old Man Devil explained. Is it because of what I just experienced? Sima Yue quickly understood what he meant. Looking at the ring on her finger, she said, why do I feel that this ring is not ordinary? Of course it's not ordinary, this is the Divine Devil Valley's descendant's thumb ring. Wu Lingyu said. The thumb ring originally approved of him, but he took it off to erase Old Man Devil's approval. However, even if he had been recognized back then, it was not as big as when Sima Yue recognized him. If it wasn't for Old Man Devil's barrier, it would have spread throughout the entire 10,000 Beast Mountain. Successor's thumb ring? Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil speechlessly. Master, did you get the wrong thumb ring? Do you really think that your master has gone senile? Old Man Devil stared at Sima Yue. You want me to be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley? Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil in astonishment. Of course. Old Man Devil said, how about I don't compensate you? Nothing much. Sima Yue said unhappily. Can I return this to you? You don't want to be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley? I don't want to. Sima Yue rejected her directly. What? Old Man Devil's face darkened. If his first disciple wasn't willing, then so be it, but now even this one wasn't willing. If word got out, he would be laughed at. I don't like it, Sima Yue said. Ah. Wu Lingyu laughed. Her reason was actually the same as his. She was indeed the woman he liked. Yes, he had recognized this fact after being separated for a few years. He liked this girl. Since he already understood his feelings, he would not run away. Instead, he would work hard to make her his woman. It can't be helped if you don't like it. Old Man Devil said, now that the blood ring has recognized you and it's highly recognized, you will be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley. If you dare to imitate your senior brother, I will break your legs. Senior fellow apprentice has also been recognized by the blood ring? Then why can he do it but I can't? Sima Yue said unhappily. It's precisely because he went back on his word. You can't. Old Man Devil said, the blood ring will get angry if it's rejected again and again. Something like this happened in the past. 2 people had their recognition wiped out, and the second person died from bleeding from all 7 orifices. Really? Sima Yue widened her eyes. I've seen it in a book before. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue thought of the skull and beauty she saw. She felt that the 2 of them contained endless power. All right. She didn't want to die like this, so she reluctantly agreed. So many people want to enter the Divine Devil Valley but can't. You actually despise the Junior Valley Master position. You're really pissing me off. Old Man Devil blew his beard and glared. Sima Yu's mood was extremely gloomy and she didn't answer Old Man Devil's words. She asked, Master, since the Divine Devil Valley has 2 Valley Masters, does that mean there's still a young Valley Master? Yes, he is also a demon. Old Man Devil said, you will know him when you meet him in the future. It seemed that Old Man Devil didn't want to talk about that person. She could only suppress her curiosity. She took out a few jade bottles and stuffed one to Old Man Devil and the rest to Wu Lingyu, saying, with my power now, I can only give you 1 or 2 drops at a time. Use it as you see fit. There's actually so much. Seeing the treasure, Old Man Devil's solemn expression disappeared. He opened the bottle cap and took a sniff. What exactly is this? Just treat it as the upgraded version of the Earth Dragon Marrow. Sima Yue said. She said it simply, but it still shocked the 2 of them. They roughly understood the use of this thing. I'm unhappy. I'm going back. Seeing the 2 of you makes me unhappy. So, after she finished speaking, she called out Little Rock and left the mountain peak. She didn't get any compensation, but became the successor of the Divine Devil Valley. This made her very unhappy. She wasn't a fool. The Junior Valley Master position in the Divine Devil Valley would definitely make the people in the upper realm jealous. With this layer of protection, it would be easier for her to go up in the future. But she was a smart person. With great power came great responsibility. There would definitely be a lot of things to do in the future. She was actually a lazy person. Thinking about the things she would have to shoulder in the future made her a little irritated. She's really unhappy. Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yue's back view as she left and said faintly. She has a mild temper, but I believe she'll be fine in a few days. Old Man Devil's attention was still on the soul fluid. He wasn't worried that Sima Yue would be angry. Wu Lingyu looked at the jade bottle in his hand and said, I once saw a type of soul fluid in a book in the Sage Pavilion. It's very similar to this. Maybe this is the one. What kind of soul fluid? The treasure of heaven and earth, soul fluid. Wu Lingyu said. Old Man Devil was stunned. He looked at the thing in his hand in shock. He had also heard of the soul fluid. The more he looked at it, the more it looked like it. Then he laughed loudly. She really is a person with great fortune. After Sima Yue returned to the small lake, she still felt uncomfortable. She threw stones at the lake to vent her anger. What's wrong? Everyone noticed that something was wrong with her and went up to ask. Nothing. Sima Yue felt that she was angry at herself, but it was useless to say it out loud. She saw that there was a bigger stone not far away. She walked over and picked it up. She inserted her spirit energy and threw it into the small lake. Boom dash, the stone broke the surface of the lake, creating layers of ripples. Suddenly, a chill rose from the bottom of the lake, sending chills down everyone's spine. Danger, retreat into the array. Sima Yue suddenly shouted. She turned around and ran back. The others didn't need Sima Yue's order. They had already retreated. The few of them all went back into the array. At this moment, the lake seemed to be boiling. The lake water kept bubbling. Then an aura rose to the sky. However, it seemed to be suppressed by something and was pushed back into the lake. That aura had only appeared for 2 seconds. However, Sima Yue and the others felt as if a century had passed. When the aura returned, everyone was already paralyzed on the ground. After a while, Sima Yue finally regained her strength. She struggled to get up and stared blankly at the lake. Chapter 294. Just now, what was that? All the members of the Sima family were drenched in cold sweat, as if they had just been fished out of the water. What a terrifying aura! Everyone struggled to get up, but many of them fell down as soon as they stood up. Although Sima Yue was standing by the lakeside, she still felt her body go soft and a sense of fear emanated from her soul force. As for the people in Dragon Reflection Town, they were all pressed down. Each and every one of them had a look of terror on their faces. They didn't know what was going on. Old Man Devil Wu Lingyu was not far away. When he heard the commotion, he quickly rushed over and landed by the lake. Seeing that Sima Yue was safe, he let out a sigh of relief. Yue, what happened? Wu Lingyu walked over and asked with concern. Sima Yue turned to look at him and Old Man Devil. Seeing the concern in their eyes, her anger dissipated. She pointed at the lake and said, "It's coming from inside. Wasn't everything fine before? How did this happen all of a sudden?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue touched her nose and told her about how she threw a stone to vent her anger. "I'll go down and take a look." Old Man Devil said, his interest piqued. "Old man, be careful not to die here." Wu Lingyu also felt the powerful aura just now and said, "Do I look like someone who would die so easily? You stinking brat, don't curse me." Old Man Devil coldly snorted. "Master, be careful." Sima Yue said. "Yes. Although this thing's aura is strong, it can't do anything to me." After Old Man Devil finished speaking, he wrapped himself in spirit energy and jumped into the lake. "I'm going back to the sacred city. Do you want to come with me?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue shook her head. "I'll let you know when things calm down in the sacred city," Wu Lingyu said. He took out a mother-son stone and gave half to Sima Yue. "Okay." Sima Yue took the mother-son stone. "I'm going now. Be careful." Wu Lingyu glanced at Sima Yue and flew away. At this time, the Sima family stood up from the ground and looked at the calm lake. "What's down there?" Sima Yue told him about how she and Old Man Devil guessed that there was a ferocious beast below. She also guessed that the spirit beasts in the 10,000 Beast Mountain were attracted by this ferocious beast. When the Sima family heard this news, they were shocked. However, because they knew what happened on Forgotten Worry Island, they quickly digested this news. If that's the case, then this place should be very dangerous. Sima Yu frowned. "Should we change to another place to set up camp or retreat?" "I don't think that's necessary." Sima Yuran said, "Since this place belongs to that fierce beast, it means that this is the center of the array. It should be the safest place." "I agree with you, Ran." Sima Yulin said, "It hasn't come out for so many years. It should be fine in the short term." "I feel too lazy to move. Based on what Jade said, it should be over in a few days." Sima Yue said. After some discussion, the Sima family decided to stay. They did what they usually did, but they still had some lingering fears. On the second day, the people from Dragon Reflection Town came one after another. They wanted to know what had happened and what had caused the commotion last night. However, when they came to the lakeside, they only saw the Sima family leisurely eating. Nothing? Someone was puzzled. They should be fine. Otherwise, why would they still be here? That aura last night was too scary. It penetrated deep into my soul. Too scary. My heart still trembles when I think about it. My legs are weak too. But why do they look like nothing happened? Could it be that they didn't feel that aura? Why don't you go and ask? Okay, I'll ask. There really were people who went to ask the Sima family. However, they said that they weren't here last night and only came back this morning. They didn't know what had happened. I knew it. If they were also enveloped by that aura, how could they be so relaxed? I still don't know what happened last night. I heard some secret news before. It said that there is a fierce beast in 10,000 Beast Mountain. That aura last night should have come from it. Really? If that's the case, then aren't we all in danger? The aura last night was much stronger than a peak spirit paragon. I think it's at least a divine rank. I don't think it's just that. Someone refuted. I felt the aura of a sacred beast in West Moon Kingdom's Three Springs City. It's far from the one last night. Could it be stronger than a divine rank? How could our continent have such a strong creature? Who knows? Sai, let's go back. There's no point in staying here. Sima Yue and the rest were eating as they listened to these people talk. They didn't think that someone would actually be right. However, they didn't want to say this out loud in case they scared these people. Seeing that those people had left, Bei Gong Tang tore off a piece of roasted meat and placed it in her mouth, asking, "Yue, what happened to you last night? I can see that you're very angry." Sima Yue's mood had already calmed down. However, she still fiercely bit down on a chicken wing, hatefully telling them about how she had received the blood ring's acknowledgement. Everyone was speechless. If it was a normal person who encountered this kind of thing, they would wake up laughing. Only she would be so depressed. Wei Ziqi and the rest understood her feelings because they knew that she was used to being lazy. However, they still mocked her. "It's very rare to see you so angry like last night. I realized that after meeting your master, you've already gone berserk more than once." He was talking about how Sima Yue fought with Wu Lingyu when she met him. At that time she even bit him, causing everyone to laugh at her for a few days. Sima Yue laughed and changed the topic, asking, "What has the Nalan clan been doing recently? I haven't seen them jump out. What else can they be doing? They're the same as us, looking for spirit beasts to train in the mountains." Sima Yuyang said, "We've met them a few times but there hasn't been much of a conflict. I heard that the Hua clan will be coming in these 2 days." Sima Yuqing said. She and Sima Yulan would sometimes go to Dragon Reflection Town to look for jade and heard people mention it. Hua clan? When Sima Yue heard their name, she thought of the Hua siblings that she had met in Anyang City. At that time, they had ruthlessly slapped each other's faces. Apart from the Hua clan, the other clans will be coming as well. I think they're calculating that the 10,000 Beast Mountain is about to end. Sima Yulan said. Then we. Sima Yue had not finished speaking when with a thought, the Mother-Sun stone appeared in her hand, shining with white light. She inserted her spiritual qi into it and Wu Lingyu's voice sounded from inside, "The spirit beasts outside have retreated. If there are no accidents, the Great Protective Array will be closed in 2 days." Chapter 295. For the next 2 days, the 10,000 Beast Mountain appeared to be in a state where all the beasts were silent. Whether it was day or night, not to mention half of the spirit beasts, even ordinary animals were nowhere to be seen. There was not even a single bird in the sky. In the Holy City, people from all the major powers were sitting in a circle, discussing what had happened in the past 2 days. Every single one of them was a character that could shake the entire Yilin continent. Wu Lingyu was among them as well. He seemed out of place with the group of older people. Although he was very young, no one looked down on him because they knew that he came from the upper realm and was the holy son of the Sage Pavilion. His position was extraordinary and his strength was extraordinary. "We haven't seen any spirit beasts in the past 2 days. Are we just going to pass this time?" A middle-aged man asked. Judging from his attire, he was one of the vice presidents of the Apothecary Guild. A vice president of the Armament Master Guild said doubtfully, 2 days ago, there was a shocking aura coming from the direction of Dragon Reflection Mountain. It should have been released by the creature trapped below. Could it be that the retreat of the spirit beast has something to do with it? President Wu, you guys know more about spirit beasts than we do. Do you think we can pass this time? That President Wu was the first vice president of the Beast Tamer Master Guild. When he heard the question, he said with uncertainty, "I think he passed. Although I don't know what happened over there 2 days ago, it interfered this time and resolved the crisis of the Holy City ahead of time. The gap of 100 years is getting closer and closer, and things are getting longer and longer. I don't know how much longer the sacred city can hold on. So, no matter what, we must guard this place well. This concerns the safety of millions of people." The Temple Lord said righteously. Wu Lingyu sat in his seat without saying a word. He originally didn't want to participate in this kind of meeting, but Sima Yu asked him to come after she found out. She wanted to see if she could get any information. "Since the spirit beasts are over, can we open the Great City Barrier Array? It's time to open it. The gathering will be held in a few days, and those families will be arriving one after another. I heard that the younger generation of 2 clans have already arrived at Dragon Reflection Mountain. They are from the Nalan family and the Sima family. I heard that the Hua family has also come, but they are being led by the older generation. Since that's the case, let's retract the Great City Barrier formation." I agree. The Beast Tamers Guild also agrees. The Alchemist Guild agrees. I have no objections. After everyone agreed, they decided to deactivate the Great City Barrier Array after the meeting. This grand meeting will once again determine the status of the major forces. I've heard that quite a few young geniuses have appeared this time. When the time comes, we'll be able to feast our eyes. Someone brought up the topic. I heard that there's a genius alchemist in the Sima family. He's already a 4th grade alchemist at the age of 22. Isn't he more talented than those kids in the Alchemist Guild? I've also heard of this matter, but that child seems to be more than a 4th rank. She competed with Li Mu and completely defeated him. Isn't Li Mu a 4th rank? My guess is that she should be at the 5th rank. A 22-year-old 5th grade alchemist? His talent is even higher than Han Brat's. Not only that, I also heard that Li Mu brought people to help the Nalan family investigate the situation. In the end, they were ruthlessly beaten by her. Vice President Chen, is this true? The vice president, who was the first to speak, had an ugly expression on his face. This matter had greatly lost the Alchemist Guild's face. Now that it was mentioned in front of everyone, he was furious. This matter, when they come back, we'll naturally have to ask them properly. He opened his mouth in an unfriendly manner. Wu Lingyu glanced at Vice President Chen and lightly said, "A few days ago, I went out with my master and happened to pass by Dragon Reflection Mountain. I heard those people say that day, Li Mu brought people to cause trouble for the Sima family. He wanted to ask the Nalan family about the Sima family situation and said that he would leave after winning 3 rounds. However, one of his people was beaten by the Sima family. The Alchemist Guild changed their mind and said that they would change it to a competition of alchemy." When he said this, everyone looked at Vice President Chen with ridicule and asked, "Is it really like this? That Li Mu usually looks quite honest. Who would have thought that he would do this kind of thing?" The person who spoke wanted to say that he was shameless, but on account of the Alchemist Guild's reputation, he swallowed those words. Those are just rumors. As for the specifics, we'll naturally have to wait for them to come back before we know. Vice President Chen felt that he had lost all his face and cursed Li Mu in his heart. He did not have a good impression of the Sima family. Although he never had a good attitude towards the Sima family. At the same time, he did not have a good attitude towards those who spoke. Today the president did not come and asked him to attend this meeting. He was used as a joke by them and his heart was stifled. He clenched his fists and secretly swore in his heart. After the meeting ended, Saint City's great protective array was closed. Sima Yue and the rest received the news immediately and decided to head to Saint City the next day. After what happened 2 days ago, many people felt that it was dangerous and directly left Dragon Reflection Mountain. Therefore, when the Hua family arrived, they were lucky enough to stay in an inn. "You said that Brother Yulin and the rest are here too?" Hua Zijiao looked at her servant and said excitedly. "Young miss, they said that the Sima family arrived a few days ago. Young Master Yulin is definitely among them." Little Peach said. "Really, I'm going to look for him." Hua Zijiao stood up and ran out. "Young miss, wait. I heard that they are not in the town." Little Peach said. "If they are not in the town, then where are they?" "I heard that they did not have a place to stay when they came, so they ran to the small lake outside to set up camp. I'm going to look for him." Hua Zijiao lifted her skirt and ran out. When she opened the door, she bumped into the people outside. "Why are you so rash?" Hua Ziyan looked at his sister and pretended to scold her. Brother Yulin and the rest are here. I'm going to look for them," Hua Zijiao said with a smile. "Wait." Hua Ziyan called out to Hua Zijiao, saying, "I want to look for him too. Let's go together." "Okay brother, hurry." When Hua Zijiao and Hua Ziyan came to the small lake, they immediately saw Sima Yulin and Sima Yu chatting by the lake. The two of them were talking about something, and Sima Yulin's face revealed a shocked expression. Fatty Chu, Wei Ziqi and the rest of the Sima clan members were fishing not too far away. A colorful bird was flying above everyone's heads. When she saw Sima Yu, Hua Zijiao was a little uncomfortable. When she was in Anyang City, she had been severely slapped in the face by Sima Yu and the rest. After that, when she saw a sacred beast by her side, she was even more shocked. She felt like a clown in front of her. However, when she saw the person she liked over there, she still gathered her courage and walked over. Chapter 296. Plus. Hua Ziyan saw the way his sister was acting and sighed in his heart. He walked over and cupped his fist in Sima Yulin's direction, saying, "Brother Yulin." "Brother Ziyan? You've come to Dragon Reflection Town as well?" Sima Yulin stood up and returned the greeting. Sima Yu had long since seen Hua Ziyan and Hua Zijiao's arrival. However, because she didn't like Hua Zijiao, she didn't express anything. Hua Ziyan naturally knew that his sister had offended her at that time and knew her position in the Sima family, so he didn't say anything. "I'll go fishing with Ziqi and the others," Sima Yu said as she walked towards Wei Ziqi and the others. She took out a fishing rod and began to fish. Huizi Jiao was very unhappy with Sima Yuyu's attitude, but because Sima Yulin was present, she didn't say anything. However, she was thinking of finding a chance to teach her a lesson. Brother Yulin, how long have you been here? What have you been doing these days? Do you want to go back to Dragon Reflection Town with us? No need. We're going to Saint City tomorrow. It's no trouble. Sima Yulin declined. You're going tomorrow? Didn't you say that Saint City has already activated the Great Array? You won't be able to enter even if you go. Huizi Jiao said. The Great Array will close in a while. However, it's too late today, so we'll leave early tomorrow morning. Sima Yulin said. How do you know that the Great Array will close? Huizi Jiao asked curiously. You said it. Huizi Jiao pursed her lips. You believe what she says. She didn't see it. Sima Yulin smiled lightly. Yuyu's words have always been accurate. Sima Yuyu heard her name but didn't turn her head. She continued to chat with Wei Ziqi and the others. That annoying woman is here again. Fatty Chu said. Will she say that we're poor again? I don't think so. Wei Ziqi said. I hope not. Otherwise we'll have to sell iron pots and pans again. Fatty Chu said. Sima Yuyu was amused by Fatty Chu's words and laughed. You're obviously selling pills and spirit tools, but you make it sound like you're poor. I caught one. It's a big guy. Fatty, prepare a net for me. It had to be said that they were really bold. They knew that there was something big inside, but they still dared to fish here. They were not afraid that something would happen to them. If it were anyone else, they would have fled long ago. Later in the day, the Holy City closed the Great City Barrier Array, and everyone could enter and leave the Holy City freely. When the news reached Dragon Reflection Mountain, it was already afternoon. When Huizi Yin heard the news, he looked at Sima Yuyu with surprise. He always felt that Sima Yue gave him an unfathomable feeling. After knowing that the Holy City was open, the people of Dragon Reflection Mountain all let out a sigh of relief. Then they all became happy because tomorrow everyone can go to the Holy City. In the evening, Li Mu brought the people from the Alchemist Guild out for a stroll. When they came to the lakeside, they saw Jade and Sima Yue together. Walking over, a disciple said, Miss, the sacred city is about to open. We will return tomorrow morning. Why are you still with these people? Jade looked at them with a cold expression and said, Isn't it still early tomorrow? What do I need you to care about what I do now? Senior sister, everyone is worried about your safety. How can you treat everyone like this? Hong Xia said unhappily. She was obviously trying to sow discord between Jade and everyone. How did I treat everyone? When did it become your turn to talk about my matters? Jade looked at Hong Xia. I was too good to you in the past. Have you all forgotten who you are? Senior sister, how can you say that? You weren't like this in the past. Hong Xia was reprimanded and looked at Jade in disbelief. You weren't like this in the past either. Jade faintly glanced at Li Mu and Wu Feng. She seemed to be talking about that competition. Sima Yue was squatting on the ground cutting the fish. She raised her head and looked at them saying, What, are you all planning to stay and let me beat you up? Who wants me to beat you up until your mother doesn't recognize you? Her voice wasn't loud, but it made the people from the Alchemist Guild take a step back. Sima Yue, you won't be happy for long. Wait until we reach Saint City. Someone will take care of you. Wu Feng glared fiercely at Sima Yue. Still not leaving? Sima Yue stood up lazily and looked at the crowd. Junior sister, it's best if you come back. If you follow them, you might not be able to reach Saint City safely. Li Mu said. Can you not worry about me? Jade said with a cold face. Li Mu glanced at her and waved his hand saying, Let's go. It really affects my appetite. Sima Yue squatted down and continued cutting the fish. Suddenly, her nose twitched and a cold light flashed in her eyes. What's wrong? Bei Gong Tang knew that something was wrong the moment she saw her and asked. Sima Yue snorted coldly, Someone gave us a big gift. Should we return the favor? What happened? The others heard Sima Yue's words and looked over. Sima Yue didn't say anything. She only looked at Jade and said, Young Miss Yen, it's getting dark. You should go back to avoid any accidents. Jade wanted to say that she wanted to stay. She was afraid that Li Mu and the others would do something bad to them. However, when she saw Sima Yue's expression, she felt that her worries were unnecessary. Alright then. I'll go back first. When you go to Saint City and meet the Northern Yenli clan, avoid them if you can. She reminded. After speaking, she bid farewell to Sima Yuqing and the others and left. Sima Yue turned around and looked at Sima Yulin. Sima Yulin understood what she meant and said to the Hua siblings, Brother Ziyan, it's getting late. Why don't you go back first? Since we're going to Saint City tomorrow, we'll meet again tomorrow morning. Although Hua Ziyan didn't know what had happened since the other party had already said so, he could only bring Hua Zijiao, who kept looking back at him, back to Dragon Reflection Mountain. Once they had all left, Fatty Chu asked, Yu, what's wrong? Smell it? There's a faint fragrance. Sima Yu said. Fatty Chu and the Sima family sniffed hard, then shook their heads saying, I can't smell it. It smells like orchids. It's faintly discernible. You don't have much contact with herbs, so it's normal that you can't smell it. Sima Yu said. What's orchids? It's an aphrodisiac that attracts spirit beasts. Furthermore, it only works on divine beasts. Sima Yu said, Tonight, there will be many spirit beasts coming to visit us. Then what do we do? Sima Yuqing asked anxiously. Although they had divine beasts, if too many spirit beasts came, they wouldn't be able to handle it. What else can we do? Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. If the spirit beasts come, we can only wait. Sima Yue wasn't worried at all. But ever since Li Mu and the others came, we've been guarding against them. We didn't see them do anything? How did you get the orchid fragrance? Chapter 297. This was the question in everyone's mind. Because of the conflict with the Alchemist Guild, they had been on guard ever since Li Mu and the others arrived. Their eyes never left them, so they didn't notice any movements from them. I think they scattered it on their bodies, Sima Yue said. But wouldn't they be attacked as well? Sima Yulan didn't understand. But where are they now? Sima Yue asked instead of answering. Back to Dragon Reflection Town? Sima Yulan said, then suddenly realized, Dragon Reflection Town has an array. Seeing a large group of spirit beasts attack, the people of Dragon Reflection Town will definitely open the array. They'll be fine inside. Not bad. Sima Yue nodded. Tomorrow morning the orchid fragrance on their bodies will be gone, and they will be able to come out. These alchemists, each and every one of them is too vicious. Sima Yuqing said hatefully. It doesn't matter. We'll return the favor one day. Sima Yue sneered. Those who schemed against her should be prepared to be schemed against. Then what do we do now? Sima Yulin frowned. This formation has never been used since it was set up. Tonight I will show you its power. Sima Yue said confidently. He had learned this array from Sima Lin, and it was not any weaker than the defensive array of the Dragon Reflection Mountain. Hearing her say that, the Sima clansmen all relaxed. Sima Yulin looked at her and saw the confident smile on her face. He sighed that she was always able to make people feel at ease and trust her. Therefore, everyone went on as usual as if they were not affected by this matter. A shadow left the mountain and ran towards Dragon Reflection Mountain. Sima Yue looked in that direction with a cold glint in her eyes. In Longtu Town, Li Mu received the news that Sima Yue and the rest did not find out about Lan Xiang and were still at the lakeside. Let's see who can save them at night. Li Mu said with a laugh. Red Cloud stood by his side and said, Senior Brother Li, if the younger generation of the Sima family dies, will the Sima family find trouble with us? What are you afraid of? Li Mu said without worry, who will know that we did it? Lan Xiang would be gone by the next morning, and those people would not be able to find any clues even if they wanted to. Besides, could the Sima family be ranked among the first-class forces without the younger generation? Don't forget that we are the Alchemist Union, who dares to find trouble with us? Senior Brother is right. Wu Feng flattered. Then we'll be waiting for a good show tonight. Red Cloud put aside her worries and said with a smile. Yes, let's inform the mayor first and ask him to prepare to activate the defense array. Otherwise even we will suffer, Li Mu ordered. Yes, Senior Brother. Someone ran out and went to inform the mayor. However, he naturally wouldn't say that it was because they had sprinkled the orchid fragrance. He only said that they had received news that many of the divine beasts that had besieged the holy city had come here. The mayor was suspicious. Didn't the divine beasts already pass by? Why would they still attack here? However, his suspicions were just suspicions. He still sent people to the mountain to observe the situation outside. Once the divine beasts attacked, they would immediately activate the defense array. At night, Sima Yue and the rest were still playing by the lake, allowing Li Mu and the rest who were secretly observing the situation to relax. They were really worried that the Sima family would notice them halfway and retreat to Dragon Reflection Town. If that happened, they would have wasted their efforts today. Sima Yue was currently asking Fatty Chu to refine a spirit tool oven for her. The kind that didn't use electricity and only used a spirit tool to activate it. Although Fatty Chu usually looked a little dumb, he had extraordinary talent in the area of armament refining. After Sima Yu explained the use of the oven to him, he knew the structure of this kind of oven. Of course, even so, it took him a few days to figure out how to refine the oven. Hence, since he had time today, he fulfilled everyone's request and started refining tools in front of everyone. When the Sima family heard that they could watch him refine tools, they were all extremely excited. However, when they found out that he was refining the oven for Sima Yue, they were all dumbfounded. This fellow really deserved a beating. Was his talent supposed to be used like this? Thinking about it was just thinking about it. Everyone still ran over to watch. Sima Yue had never seen him refine tools before. Every time she would tell Fatty Chu what she wanted him to refine, and then he would refine it himself and give her the finished product. This was the first time she was looking at it carefully. Suddenly, her gaze turned towards the mountain and she said, "They're here." Everyone knew what she was talking about and they were all on their guard. Roar dash, a woo dash, a group of divine beasts ran down from the mountain under the moonlight. Each of them had a manic look in their eyes. It was obvious that they had been provoked by something. So many. When everyone saw the divine beasts rushing down, they were all stunned. It's fine if they don't come, but when they do, there are so many of them. Everyone was stunned. What's going on? Why are they all coming together? Because the orchid fragrance has the greatest effect at night. During the day, the divine beasts can still control themselves after smelling it. However, at night they can't control themselves. Sima Yue said as she injected spiritual energy into the ground. The array was activated and everyone was trapped inside. When the people sent by the mayor saw the group of divine beasts rushing over, they shouted from the top of the mountain, "The beasts are attacking. Activate the defensive array, the highest grade defensive array." The mayor did not cultivate tonight and had been waiting for the situation outside. When he heard the voice from the top of the mountain, he immediately ordered the spirit masters guarding the array, "Quickly activate the array." His voice spread to all corners of the town. The 8 spirit masters immediately took action and injected spiritual energy into a rock on the ground. The defensive array was immediately activated and a few directions lit up with a dazzling white light. A layer of ripples lit up the sky and enveloped the entire dragon reflection town. What happened? Is there? Why did the defensive array activate? A large group of divine beasts is attacking. The person on the top of the mountain shouted again to let the people who had just woken up understand what was happening. Many people flew to the top of the mountain to see the situation outside. When they saw the group of divine beasts rushing over, they were all stunned. Heavens, isn't the divine beasts already over? Even if the 10,000 beast mountain isn't safe at night, there shouldn't be so many divine beasts. Oh no, the Sima family is still outside. There's no other way. Once the defensive array is activated, no one can enter or leave. They can't come in now. Then aren't they in danger? Brother Yilin and the rest are still outside. Father, save them. Huazi Jiao said anxiously. It's too late. The defensive array has already been activated. Unless the array is closed, even I can't get out. Then what about them? Huazi Jiao cried. They can only leave it to the heavens. There are so many divine beasts outside and many of them are spirit paragons. They definitely won't be able to escape. The people from the Alchemist Guild said eccentrically. This was also what everyone was thinking. No, they will be fine. Someone pointed below and shouted. Chapter 298. The group of divine beasts had already neared Dragon Reflection Mountain, and many people saw them running across the lake towards Dragon Reflection Town. Just when everyone thought that the Sima family would definitely die, a white light shone from the small lake, almost illuminating the entire night. What is that? Someone exclaimed. That's a defensive array. The defense array has surrounded them. Why is there a defense array by the lake? Idiot, since when was there a defense array by the lake? That's the defensive array set up by the Sima family. Isn't that a group of young people? How can he set up a defense array? That's right. There must be a formation master among them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to set up a formation. Humph, did you just find out? Brother Yulin is an array master. Huazi Jiao said proudly. At this moment, there was no longer any worry on her face. With the defense array, they would definitely be able to survive this calamity. That's not right. I know Yulin's array. It's impossible for him to set up such a strong defensive array. Huazi Yin said as he looked at the bright and eye-catching defensive array below. You're saying that it wasn't set up by Big Brother Yulin? Other than him, who else is an array master? Huazi Jiao asked in disbelief. 2 years ago I saw him set up an array. It was much worse than this. Huazi Yan said. It must be because of his rapid progress in the past 2 years. Otherwise, apart from him, who else in the younger generation of the Sima family would have such a high level of cultivation? Perhaps. Huazi Yan did not continue arguing. Instead he looked down at the defense array. This spirit beast will usually last for the entire night. This defense array is not about its current effect but its endurance. If it can't last for the entire night they will still lose their lives. Wu Feng coldly snorted. That's right. Maybe the formation will be useless in a while. A formation set up by a young man, I'm sure it won't be of much use. An older man said. Everyone was certain that the array formation by the lake would be destroyed very quickly. However, the light did not disappear for the entire night, and all the spirit beasts retreated in the morning. Beside the lake, Sima Yu and the others were initially very nervous and called out their divine beasts to prepare for battle. Only Sima Yu and the others were still calmly refining the oven, not worried at all that the array would be broken by the spirit beasts. It was only until the latter half of the night that everyone felt relieved. This was because the formation was still stable under the attacks of so many spirit beasts. It did not even shake at all. Yu, how is your array so powerful? Sima Yang came over and asked. Fatty Chu's oven was already in its final stages, so there was no need for Sima Yue to tell him how to do it. This formation is the strongest formation that I can set up right now. It has a certain degree of immunity against spirit energy attacks. It's not that the spirit beast's attacks aren't strong, it's just that they aren't strong enough. All of them were transferred underground by the formation. As long as it's not a divine beast of level 5 or above, it won't cause much harm to it. She explained. Why does this array sound so familiar? Sima Yang said. This is the clan's defensive array. Right now, the Sima residence's defensive array is this. Sima Yulin said from the side. What? Sima Yu Yang's eyes widened. This is the clan's protective array? You even know how to do this? Grandpa Lin taught me. Sima Yue was rather surprised as well. When Sima Lin taught her this array, he did not say that it was the clan's protective array. He only said that it was a very strong defensive array. However, I can only set up this kind of array right now. If the area is too big it won't be of much use. Even if it's like this, it's still very powerful. Sima Yu Yang looked at Sima Yue in admiration, saying, Yu, you're really my idol. Idol, I'm going to vomit on you. Don't ever say that to me again. Sima Yue continued to watch Fatty Chu refine tools after she finished speaking. Seeing how Fatty Chu was sweating profusely, she could not help but sigh. It was no wonder that alchemists were rarer than armament masters. If you didn't have any strength, you wouldn't be able to do this job. Outside the array, the spirit beasts attacked the array restlessly. However, Sima Yue and the others inside were not anxious at all. On the second morning, they watched as the array was still standing by the lake. Alright, the beast wave has finally dispersed. Sima Yue said. Although they believed in Sima Yue's abilities, they still maintained their vigilance. If the array was broken they would be able to react immediately. Sima Yue closed the array and the people standing on Dragon Reflection Mountain were able to see what was happening inside. Is he refining tools? The people on the mountain top saw Fatty Chu refining tools calmly and their eyes widened. There are still people eating over there. Wei Ziqi, Sima Yuming and the others were sitting in front of the table eating breakfast. That calm look did not look like they had been attacked by divine beasts for an entire night. The Sima family is really carefree. Someone sighed. I told you that big brother Yulin's array would be fine. Huazi Jiao said as she looked over at Li Mu and the others. Yulin's array has indeed improved greatly. Huazi Yan's father said. That's right. I think that this child Yulin will walk very far on the path of arrays. That's right, the Sima family will have another array master in the future. Sima Lin is really lucky to have this kind of grandson. The Hua family was full of praise for Sima Yulin. The younger generation was full of admiration for him. Even the people on Dragon Reflection Mountain were full of praise. Only Jade knew that this array was not set up by Sima Yulin at all. It was set up by Sima Yue, the person who was also talented in alchemy. At first she did not think much of Sima Yue's array. After all, her age was in front of everyone. She was also very accomplished in alchemy, so she thought that her time and energy should be devoted to alchemy. However, she never thought that Sima Yue's array would be comparable to Dragon Reflection Mountain's array. Last night, she had been paying attention to the situation below. She realized that Dragon Reflection Mountain's array shook a few times, but Sima Yoyue's array continued to shine. How could she not be shocked? No wonder they call her a monster, a demon. Beside the lake, Fatty Chu finished refining the furnace and handed it to Sima Yue, saying, "Take a look and see if it works." Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu, who had been busy the entire afternoon and night, and took out some spirit fruits for him, saying, "It's been hard on you. I didn't realize it before, but now I know that refining tools is so difficult. Take a look and see if it works." It was Fatty Chu's first time refining something like this, so there was no guarantee that it would work. Sima Yue kept the furnace in her interspatial ring, saying, "We'll see when we get back. I'm going to keep the array now. Let's go to Saint City." She went to keep the array stones and saw that many of them had already cracked. She shook her head and sighed, "It's a good thing that the spirit beasts have already retreated. Otherwise, this array would not be able to hold on for much longer." She kept all the array stones, and the Sima family tidied up their tents. At this time, a group of people walked over from Dragon Reflection Town. Chapter 299. Sima Yu Yang and the others saw the people who walked over and their eyes flashed. However, they still brought their men to greet them. "Greetings to Grandpa Hua and all the seniors," he said. Hua Jingxing, Hua Ziyan and the others' grandfather, the current head of the Hua clan, extended a hand to support him, saying, "Yu Yang, were you injured last night?" "Grandpa Hua, we're fine. We're not injured," Sima Yu Yang replied with a smile. "When we found out about what happened last night, the town's protective array had already been activated. Although we are spirit paragons, we can't enter and exit the array as we wish. We didn't take care of you. Please don't take it to heart," Hua Jingxing said. "Thank you for your concern, Grandpa Hua. We've caused you to worry. We're very safe in the array," Sima Yu Yang replied politely. "Has the array been retracted?" "Yes, because we're going to Saint City in a while, we've retracted the array. Yulin, your array skills have improved by quite a bit. You're actually able to set up such a powerful array this time. Your future is limitless." Sima Yulin's expression was a little unnatural, saying, "This array wasn't set up by me." "Not you. Then who is it?" The Hua clansmen swept their eyes over the Sima clan in shock, wanting to see whose array skills were better than Sima Yulin's. "Ziyu," Sima Yulin said. "Who is Sima Yu? Sima Yu was standing at the back of the crowd. Initially she was still lamenting that this guy, Sima Yu Yang, didn't seem to be a proper person. Now that he was interacting with the Hua clansmen, he seemed to be a proper person. When she suddenly heard them mention her name, she lowered her head and muttered a few words. However, no matter what, she still stood out and bowed to Hua Jingxing, saying, "This junior greets Hua Jingxing, you're Sima Yu? Was that array set up by you?" When Hua Jingxing saw Sima Yu, he finally remembered that Sima Yu had caused a ruckus in the Sima clan. "That's this junior," Sima Yu replied. "I didn't expect you to be so talented. You've achieved so much at such a young age." Hua Jingxing nodded in approval when he saw that Sima Yue was neither arrogant nor rash. Hua Ziyan and Hua Zijiao looked at Sima Yue in shock. Her array was even more powerful than Sima Yulin's. What kind of monster was she? No wonder he was able to work together with those alchemists, blacksmiths and beast tamers. "I heard that you have a few friends by your side. They are all alchemists, artifact refiners and beast tamers. Are they still with you?" Hua Jingxing asked with a smile. Sima Yue was stunned. 2 years ago, they had humiliated Miss Hua in the Shenyuan pavilion. Was this old man going to settle accounts with them? Seeing her uncertain expression, Hua Jingxing laughed and said, "We just want to see what the young geniuses group is like. We don't have any other intentions." Sima Yue stared at Hua Jingxing and felt that he didn't seem like the kind of person who would bully the weak. She nodded her head and looked behind her, saying, "Ziqi Beigong Fatty, come and meet Grandpa Hua." Wei Ziqi and the other two walked over, saying, "Greetings, Grandpa Hua. You are all talented and talented." Hua Jingxing praised, "Why is there one person missing?" "Ouyang hasn't come yet," Sima Yue replied. "He left you to come here?" Someone from the Hua clan asked. "No, he is still in the South Eclipse Kingdom to settle some things," Sima Yue said. "On the way here we found out about the changes in the South Eclipse Kingdom. The royal family happens to be surnamed Ouyang. Could it be that your friend is the former crown prince who returned?" Hua Jingxing asked. Sima Yue muttered, "Why are you still asking when you already know?" However, she still replied respectfully, "That's right." As she spoke, she glanced at Sima Yu Yang. The latter immediately understood what she meant and said, "Grandpa Hua, we are planning to rush to Saint City. Do you want to come?" Okay, we are planning to go there as well. Why don't we go together? Huo Jingxing said. The reason they came over was to go to the holy city with them. Because the latter part of the journey was a bit longer than the previous one, and it was also a bit more dangerous. The Hua clan and the Sima clan could be considered old friends, so they planned to bring them along. The Hua clan took out their divine flying beast and the Sima clan followed along. They set off in the morning and only reached Saint City in the evening. When they reached Saint City, the Hua clan and the Sima clan separated and went to their own houses. Saint City did not allow flying, so everyone called out their contracted beasts and ran for half an hour before they reached the Sima clan's house. Young masters and young misses, you are finally here. The steward of the Sima clan's house saw Sima Yu Yang and the others and bowed. I heard that you have been outside Dragon Reflection Town for the past few days. Did anything happen? Uncle Ren, we are fine. This was the steward that the Sima clan had transferred over. Sima Yu Yang and the others knew him before. The houses have already been tidied up. Everyone can rest first. Tomorrow we can walk around the city. Master and the others will be here in 2 days. Sima Ren said. Okay, sorry to trouble Uncle Ren. Sima Yu Yang said. After that, he said to the disciples of the Sima clan, everyone can rest tonight. If you want to go out tomorrow, you can walk around together. Uncle Ren, why can't people who are not 20 years old enter Saint City? A disciple of the Sima clan asked. It was because of this reason that they had never been here before. As for those who were in their 20s, they had never had the time or opportunity to come here. This is a rule that has been passed down since long ago. We don't know the reason either. Uncle Ren said as he led the way. If those who are not 20 years old can't come in, then what about those who grew up here? Sima Yu asked curiously. We don't know either. Uncle Ren said with a smile. Could it be that age discrimination exists? Fatty Chu sighed. After resting in the Sima clan for a night, everyone went out together on the second day. Even Sima Yu Ming and the 4 brothers came early in the morning to look for Sima Yu and brought her out with Fatty Chu and the others. Saint City looked similar to other cities. It was divided into East, West, North, South and Central districts. The Central district was a business district, while the other 4 districts were living areas. There were various clans that had developed in the past. Only the Alchemist Guild, the Armament Master Guild and the Sage Pavilion could be stationed in the Central District. This place is so big. Sima Yu and the others sat on the beast carriage that Sima Ren had prepared. They were heading towards the Central District. I heard that there are many treasures that can be traded in Saint City. Many people get spirit treasures from 10,000 Beast Mountain, or they get things that can't be seen in the world outside. They all come here to trade. Sima Yu Ran told them what he had heard. What? Fatty Chu's eyes widened. Then isn't this a paradise for robbers? They take things from outside and sell them here? Chapter 300. Sima Yue was rather curious about this as well, so she stared at Sima Yu Ran, waiting for him to explain it to everyone. Sima Yu Ran smiled, saying, because this is the headquarters of the various powers. Most people don't dare to do things like killing and robbing here. As for those who came in to trade, they would be protected by this place. Even if those people wanted to do anything to him, they wouldn't be able to. In other words, the grudges of the outside world cannot be brought in here. Even if this person stole from others and was hunted down by others, as long as he entered this place, he is not allowed to kill? Once that robber sells the items here, those people won't rob him anymore. Fatty Chu said. You can understand it that way. Sima Yu Ran nodded. Then wouldn't there be a lot of treasures here? Fatty Chu's eyes lit up. Some people had treasures in their possession, but they didn't dare to reveal it outside. Because if they were coveted by others, not only would they not be able to keep their treasures, they would also lose their lives. However, things were different here. As long as he disguised himself, he could easily get rid of the treasures in his hands. There are many treasures, but there are also some people who see that everyone is in the mood and take out inferior or fake goods to pretend to be superior or genuine goods. Sima Yu Ran said. Nobody cares about this? Wei Ziqi asked. After entering, all transactions are voluntary. If you buy a fake or something, you can only blame yourself for not being observant enough and not being able to see the essence of the goods. When they heard what Sima Yu Ran said, everyone was speechless. Wasn't this creating this kind of atmosphere? Their beast carriages ran for an hour before they reached the central area. When they arrived, the streets were densely packed with beast carriages. Fortunately, the roads here were spacious. A single street could allow 20 beast carriages to travel at the same time. Otherwise, this place would have been jammed. Due to Sima Yoyue's request, The coachman brought them to the nearest market. Then he waited outside while the others went in. Standing at the entrance of the market, Sima Yue and the rest were surprised to see so many people entering and exiting the market. This is the free trade market? It's no different from those shops, Sima Yue said. The door looked like an ordinary loft, and the outside was similar to other shops. Just as they were about to enter, they saw Sima Yue and the rest standing at the door. She said, "Are you all new to the sacred city?" Sima Yue and the rest turned their heads to look at the two middle-aged men. From their bloody aura, they could tell that they were people who often went through life and death situations. "This is indeed the first time we've come to Saint City. We heard about this free market, so we wanted to take a look," Sima Yuran said with a smile. "As expected, it's your first time here. The two of us want to go in as well. You can come with us to take a look," the fairer middle-aged man said. "Thank you, uncle." Sima Yue and the rest followed the two of them into the shop. As soon as they entered, they noticed the difference between this shop and the other shops. Most shops would place their goods neatly on the shelves, but here rows of people were sitting on the ground. They casually pulled a piece of cloth and placed it on the ground. Then there were scattered items on it. Some of them had the items that they wanted to exchange for written on it. There are a total of 4 floors here. Each time, it can accommodate thousands of people setting up stalls here. The higher you go, the more valuable the items are. The fair-skinned middle-aged man explained, "Since it's your first time here, you can start walking slowly from the first floor. We want to go upstairs, so we won't be going with you." "Okay, thank you, uncle." The two middle-aged men obviously came to this place often. They knew that the items they needed or wanted to sell were of high quality, so they went upstairs directly. "Let's walk around as well," Sima Yuming said. The group of them walked around the first floor. Sima Yue saw quite a few medicinal ingredients, but they weren't very valuable. There were also a few pills and spirit tools, but they were of average quality and didn't catch their eye. They quickly finished walking around the first floor because they didn't see anything good. They just walked around. Very quickly they went to the second floor. Just like what the two middle-aged men said, the items here were more valuable than the ones below. However, they still didn't catch their eye. They finished walking around the second floor very quickly and went to the third floor. The items here were of higher quality. Occasionally they would stop in their tracks. However, they didn't buy much. Only Fatty Chu chose a few materials for refining tools. On the fourth floor they met the two middle-aged men. When they saw that they had come up so quickly, they said with some surprise, "You finished walking around the lower 3 floors so quickly?" "The items below are very average, so we walked around rather quickly," Sima Yuran said with a smile. When the two of them heard this, they immediately understood. They were definitely not average people. The things they usually came in contact with were not ordinary. That was why they didn't care about the things below. "This is just a small market. If you want to find good things, you can go to a bigger one," the fair-skinned middle-aged man said. "Are the other markets better than this one?" Sima Yulu asked. "Of course. The market is also divided into grades. First, second, and third. This is the third grade, the lowest grade. The things here definitely can't compare to those in other markets," the middle-aged man explained patiently. "Then which markets are of a higher grade?" Sima Yuming asked. "The closer to the center, the higher the grade. There are 3 first-grade markets. They are under the Alchemist Guild, Armament Master Guild, and Beast Tamer Guild. If you're interested, you can go there to take a look." "Okay, thank you for your guidance, uncle." After that, Sima Yu and the others walked around the 4th floor. They saw quite a few high-grade herbs, but there were still many of them in the Spirit Pagoda, so they didn't make a move. What Sima Yu found interesting was that when they were about to leave, they saw a stalk of scarlet rhinoceros grass. This kind of medicinal ingredient was usually green, but after 200 years, it would turn scarlet red. At this time, the medicinal properties would undergo an earth-shattering change. A young man was squatting in front of the stall, haggling with the peddler about the price of this herb. 3,000 gold coins. Otherwise, no further discussion. The peddler's attitude was firm. That young man seemed to really need this herb, but he didn't bring that much money when he came out. His face was red as he begged the peddler to lower the price. "Boss, if you lower the price a bit, I'll buy it for you. 3,000 gold coins, no less." The peddler said, "Look, this is a red rhinoceros grass. Do you need me to tell you how much it's worth? If you don't want it, there will naturally be others who want it. I didn't bring enough money, but I really need this rhinoceros grass. Help me keep it for a while. I'll go back and get the money. I'll be back soon." "That won't do. If I meet someone who wants it and gives a high price, I'll sell it." the peddler said. Then what should I do? The young man was about to cry. How about this, if you can give me 3,500 gold coins, I'll keep it for you. The young man gritted his teeth, saying, okay. At this time, a white slender hand stretched out and picked up the rhinoceros grass. Chapter 301. Sima Yue squatted on the ground and picked up the rhinoceros grass. She looked at the boss and asked, how much is this rhinoceros grass? When the peddler saw Sima Yue's clothes and aura, he could tell that she was rich. 3,500 gold coins. The peddler said with a smile. The young man beside him became anxious and said, didn't you just agree to sell it to me for 3,000 gold coins? But you don't have the money, and you said that I would only keep it for you if the price is above 3,500. Now that this young master wants it, I can only sell it to him for 3,500. The peddler said confidently. Sima Yue smiled and said, your rhinoceros grass is worth at most 800 gold coins. Young master, please don't speak nonsense. 800 gold coins can only buy ordinary rhinoceros grass. Mine is crimson red and is over 200 years old. The peddler hurriedly explained. Yeah, this is just an ordinary rhinoceros grass. It's only worth 800 gold coins. Sima Yue said with certainty. Nonsense. Can't you see its color? The peddler roared, raising his voice to hide his guilt. You dyed this color? Sima Yue said. Don't slander me. Does my rhinoceros grass look like it was dyed red? Look at the rhizome, the leaves are all red. Will it be dyed like this? The peddler pinched off a leaf. Indeed, even the insides were red. I don't know how you dyed the leaves red, but I think there's something you don't know. Rhinoceros grass that is more than 200 years old will have a red line on its leaves, but you don't have it. Sima Yue pointed at the leaves. What thin thread? You haven't seen it before, so how would you know? The peddler said. How do you know that I haven't seen it before? Sima Yue asked with a smile. The peddler saw the smile on her face and felt a little scared. This guy couldn't have really seen the red rhinoceros grass, right? Does the scarlet rhinoceros grass really have that red line? The young man asked. Yes. Sima Yue said. Seeing that the other party still refused to admit it, she said, seems like you won't give up until you see the coffin. She directly cut off the rhinoceros grass's stem, and there was still a bit of emerald green at the roots. My rhinoceros grass. The vendor did not expect Sima Yue to do that, but it was too late to stop her. Sima Yue threw the grass in her hand to the ground, stood up and clapped her hands, saying, no matter what you do, the roots won't turn completely red. This. The peddler's face turned ugly. How dare you lie to me? The young man angrily rebuked. Fortunately, I haven't bought your rhinoceros grass, otherwise I would have been killed by you. Listen to me. The peddler explained. Flyer, don't buy from him anymore, the young man shouted and turned around to look for Sima Yue, but she had already left. After Sima Yue exposed the truth, she turned around and left with everyone. Just as she stepped out of the door, someone called out to her. Brother, please wait. Sima Yue recognized the man's voice and stopped to ask, is there anything I can help you with? The man walked in front of Sima Yue and bowed to her, saying, thank you, brother, otherwise I would have bought a fake red rhinoceros grass. You're welcome, I'm just not used to seeing fake things. Sima Yue said. No matter what, I still have to thank you. The man said, may I ask if you've seen red rhinoceros grass before? Yes. Sima Yue said. There were many in the spirit pagoda. May I know if you have it? Yes. Hearing Sima Yue's words, the man's eyes lit up and said excitedly, I urgently need a stalk of red rhinoceros grass. May I know if you can sell it to me? I'm willing to buy it at a high price. Someone in your family is injured? Sima Yue asked. Yes, a month ago my brother's arm was burned by Li Mu and he needs this rhinoceros grass to heal his injury. The man said. Li Mu? The one from the Alchemist Guild? Sima Yue asked. Yes, that's him. The man said, my name is Lu Yuan and my brother is Lu Ming. My brother is from the Alchemist Guild and because he went against Li Mu, he was burned by him. He has been looking for red rhinoceros grass for a long time to heal his injury. Can't burns be cured with healing elixirs? Why is it still not healed after so long? Sima Yue had never encountered such a situation. Because Li Mu's flame is not an ordinary flame. Ordinary healing elixirs are useless. Lu Yuan's face was full of anger. Sima Yue remembered that she had mentioned before that it was not easy to heal burns from other flames. She was suddenly interested. Although this 200-year-old rhinoceros grass is rare, it's not impossible to find. Why haven't you found it yet? Sima Yue asked. Yes, those big medicine shops do have it. However, that Li Mu's position in Saint City is very high. He said that no one can buy rhinoceros grass from us. Otherwise we would be going against him. That's why we can't buy rhinoceros grass from the medicine shops. We can only come to this kind of free market to try our luck. Today we finally found it, but we didn't expect it to be fake. Why don't you go to the big markets? Sima Yue asked. Those big markets are all opened by the various guilds. Lu Yuan's words were full of bitterness. Because they were opened by the various guilds, they had to give face to Li Mu. That's why even if they had it, they wouldn't sell it to him. Li Mu is just a 4th-ranked alchemist. How can he have so much faith that all the guilds are willing to help him? Fatty Chu asked. Although he's just a 4th-ranked alchemist, he has a close relationship with Vice President Qian. He also has relatives who are elders. Furthermore, his talent is very good. He's deeply appreciated by the other guilds. Naturally, no one wants to offend an alchemist with such potential. Lu Yuan said helplessly. I'm quite interested in your brother's injury. Can I go take a look? Sima Yue asked. Our family situation is very bad right now. It's better if you don't get involved with our family at this time. If others see you with us, it might bring you danger. Lu Yuan tactfully declined. It's okay. In any case, we're already enemies with that Li Mu. As the saying goes, the enemy of an enemy is a friend. Let's go take a look at our friend. Let's go. Lead the way. Sima Yue didn't take Li Mu seriously at all. Lu Yuan saw Sima Yue's insistence and agreed to bring them to his house. Sima Yue didn't think that the Lu family was actually in the central district. She was even more curious about their family. One had to know that even the 1st-ranked powers couldn't live in the central district. But a normal family could live here. This meant that they had the right to live here. At that time, they must have been a very prosperous family. Their status surpassed the 1st-ranked powers. Chapter 302. But when they stood in front of a dilapidated courtyard, they couldn't connect this once glorious family together. It was just a very small courtyard, like one of the courtyards in the Sima family's mansion. There wasn't even a door plate of the mansion. Lu Yuan saw the surprise in Sima Yue and the other's eyes and felt a little helpless. However, he still said politely, "Everyone, this is my home. Please." They walked in, and a 16 or 17-year-old girl who looked a lot like Lu Yuan came out of the house. When she saw Lu Yuan coming back with 8 strangers, she said in surprise, "Brother, who are they?" "This is my twin sister Lu Yuan." Then he looked at the quiet courtyard and asked, "Sister, this is a friend I met outside. They came to see second brother. Where's big brother?" Lu Yuan's face fell as she said, "Big brother saw that we couldn't find the 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. After you left this morning, he said that he wanted to go outside the city to take a look." Lu Yuan panicked when he heard that and said, "Is big brother really going there? How can this be? What's wrong?" Fatty Chu asked when he saw how anxious Lu Yuan was. "When big brother and I went to the mountains in the past, we came across a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. But it was near the lair of a 5th-level divine beast. If we were not careful, we would alert the divine beast. At that time, not to mention digging for the rhinoceros grass, big brother's life would be in danger," Lu Yuan explained. Lu Yuan was shocked when she heard that. She covered her mouth with both hands and tears were about to fall from her eyes. She looked at Lu Yuan and asked, "Brother, what should we do? Will something really happen to big brother?" "You haven't been out for long, so he shouldn't have gone far. You can stop him now," Sima Yue said. "It's too late. Big brother has 2 contracted beasts. They're both extremely fast spirit beasts. I've been out for the entire morning. He's probably already out of the holy city by now. When he was outside, he had a flying beast. By the time we caught up, he might already be in the mountains," Lu Yuan said anxiously. "I don't care anymore. I have to find big brother no matter what. Second brother is already injured. We can't let big brother get injured as well." Cough, cough. At this moment, the door to one of the bedrooms opened and a pale-faced man walked out. His hand was still wrapped in bandages. It was the second son of the Lu family, Lu Ming. "Third brother, go and stop big brother immediately. You must bring him back safely." Lu Ming held the door with his left hand and looked at Lu Yuan. "Second brother, your body is so weak, why did you come out?" Lu Yuan went up to support Lu Ming. "I'm fine. Third brother, go quickly." Lu Ming shouted anxiously. "I'll go now," Lu Yuan replied. Then he said to Sima Yue and the others, "I'm really sorry, there are divine beasts that are as powerful as spirit paragons. If your brother goes there and you go there alone, you might be in danger. Sima Yue said. Even if it is, I still want to go. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, I will bring big brother back. Lu Yuan said firmly. How about this, eldest brother, you guys go with him? Sima Yu said to Sima Yu Ming and the others. All right. Sima Yu Ming and the others sympathized with these brothers. If they let him go alone, these two brothers might really lose their lives in the mountain. No need, it's so dangerous there. Lu Yuan had not even finished his words when he was interrupted. Sima Yu Lu went up and hugged him, saying, if you don't go now, it might really be too late. Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi also followed, leaving behind Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang. I wonder how I should address the two of you? Lu Ming asked as he walked over with Lu Yuan's support. Sima Yue. Bei Gong Tang. Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue and asked, you're from the Sima family? That's right. Sima Yue said. What have you guys come here for today? Lu Ming's expression was ugly as he said, I've already said that our family's inheritance has long been broken. Even if you came, you wouldn't be able to find anything. Or do you want to be like those people and come here to move things? Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang were stunned, saying, what move things? Aren't you here to move things? Lu Yuan looked at the two of them and asked. No, we met Lu Yuan in the free market. We saw that he wanted to buy a stalk of rhinoceros grass that was not old enough, so we reminded him. Sima Yue said, after that he asked me for a stalk of rhinoceros grass. I happened to be interested in your sadness, so I wanted to come and take a look. Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue from head to toe, saying, oh right, the Sima family doesn't have you guys in the younger generation here. You guys just came to Saint City, right? Sima Yue didn't expect Lu Ming to guess it so quickly and nodded, saying, that's right, we just came yesterday. We've never been here before. Then you'd better leave quickly. The Sima family already has a tense relationship with the Alchemist Guild. If you get involved with us, I'm afraid it will affect your relationship. Lu Ming said. Are you talking about the matter between you and Li Mu? Sima Yue wasn't nervous at all. She looked at the dilapidated courtyard. It was really simple and there were many traces of things being moved. It seemed that a lot of things had been moved recently. You know Li Mu? Lu Ming was a little surprised, but then he said with understanding, that's right, third brother should have told you about us. No, we knew each other at Dragon Reflection Mountain. We beat up the geniuses of the Alchemist Guild, so our relationship isn't very good now. Sima Yue said, aren't you going to invite us in to have a seat? Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue with some surprise and said, please, the two of you. They came to the so-called living room where there were only a few stools left. The things have been moved away, so you guys have to make do with it. Fourth sister, make a cup of tea for the two guests. Lu Ming saw that Sima Yue and the others didn't put on any airs, so they shouldn't mind this. Lu Yuan stood where she was, her face a little red. She said in a low voice, second brother, there's no more tea at home. Lu Ming was stunned and then he felt a little sad, but he still smiled and said, I'm really sorry. In order to treat my injuries, big brother and the others have already left the house bare. It's okay. We didn't come here to drink your tea. It's the same if you give us 2 cups of water, Sima Yue said. Actually, she didn't want to drink water, but in order to ease their awkwardness she said it. Okay, wait a moment. Lu Yuan said and left. Sima Yue looked at Lu Ming's right hand and said, I heard that Li Mu's flame is not an ordinary flame. How can a burn heal for a month? Yes. Lu Yuan nodded. Every time I take a pill, my arm will heal for a while, but it will soon become like this again. Then can I see your arm? Sima Yue asked. Chapter 303. Lu Ming was silent for 2 seconds before saying, this arm is a little scary right now. Let's forget about it. Read the latest chapter, 1st edition, Volume 1. I'm a doctor, maybe I can cure your injury. Sima Yue said. Lu Ming shook his head and said, you can't cure it. Wherever Li Mu's flames burned, they would leave behind fire elements that could neither be expelled nor extinguished. This kind of fire element can only be sucked out by its owner, and can only be cured with rhinoceros grass that is over 200 years old. The fire element will stay in your body? It was Sima Yue's first time hearing this. Yes. The amount of pills I've taken this month is enough for a normal burn victim to be reborn. However, in this case, the newly grown flesh will be burned away by the fire element in the body in less than an hour, Lu Ming explained. At this time, Lu Yun came in with 2 cups of water and said, although this 200-year-old rhinoceros grass is rare, it's not impossible to find. But that Li Mu actually forbade the people of Xing City from selling it to us, causing big brother and third brother to have to go into the mountains to look for it. How despicable. Now that things have come to this, I'll just cut off one of my arms as long as they can come back alive. Lu Ming said. How can that be? Lu Yuan said, your talent in alchemy is so good. If you cut off one of your arms, how are you going to refine pills in the future? I already feel bad for dragging the three of you down. Now that big brother is in danger, as long as our family is safe, I can survive even if I only have one arm. No matter what price we have to pay, we will cure you. Don't forget, you still have to shoulder the heavy responsibility of reviving the Lu family. Lu Yuan was very determined at this time. Cough cough. Although Sima Yue was touched by their sibling relationship, she could not ignore their presence at this time. Only then did Lu Ming and Lu Yuan remember that they were still there. They smiled apologetically at them. I promised Lu Yuan that if you let me take a look at your injuries, I'll provide you with a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass, Sima Yue said as she took out a rhinoceros grass. Rhinoceros grass. The Lu siblings exclaimed when they saw the herb in Sima Yue's hand. Can I take a look at your injuries now? Sima Yue looked at Lu Ming and asked. All right. This time he agreed. Because even if he didn't show it to her now, he would still open it later when he had to treat his injuries. Lu Yuan bent down and removed the bandage on Lu Ming's hand. A forearm that was charred black from the fire appeared in front of everyone. It was a good thing that Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang had strong hearts, so although they were shocked by this injury, they were not scared silly. Sima Yue walked over to check and said, there are indeed remnants of fire elements. But it's better than I expected. That's because although Li Mu's fire isn't an ordinary fire, its level isn't very high. It's not one of those outstanding deviant flames. Lu Ming said. Lu Yuan looked at Sima Yue's serious look and asked, young Master Sima, do you have a way to save my second brother? This fire element isn't very high. Otherwise this rhinoceros grass would be useless. Sima Yue said, your brother's injury isn't too big of a problem. It'll heal in a while. It'll heal in a while? Xia Yuan grabbed onto Sima Yue's clothes excitedly. Really? Sima Yue nodded and split the rhinoceros grass into two. She gave the roots to Bei Gongtang and asked her to refine a pill. Then she asked Lu Yuan to fetch a basin of water. After that, she released a flame and directly refined the remaining rhinoceros grass into its essence. When it was almost done, she retracted the flame and the essence fell into the basin of water. She reached her hand into the basin and stirred it a few times, saying, put the injured area into the water. Lu Ming nodded and walked over to place his hand into the basin. The burning pain in his arm felt a cooling sensation, making him feel incomparably comfortable. Activate the spiritual energy in your body and absorb the essence in the water. Sima Yue said from the side. Actually, Lu Ming knew what to do even without her reminder. Very quickly, the basin of water became clear again. Second brother, how is it? Lu Yuan stared at him and asked. Lu Ming took out his hand and said, I can't feel the burning anymore. He felt his arm and said happily, the fire element is almost gone. There's only a few left attached to my bones and meridians, but it's very little. At this time, Bei Gongtang had also finished refining the pill and let Lu Ming take it. After a while, Lu Ming said, the fire element has been completely cleared. Really? That's great. Lu Yuan was so excited that she almost jumped up. Sima Yue gave him another pill and let him take it. Very quickly, the charred flesh on Lu Ming's arm fell off and new flesh grew continuously. This pill is even more effective than the one second brother took before. Lu Yuan said with a smile. When Sima Yue had just arrived in this world, the first time she took a third-ranked healing pill, she was able to recover quickly. Now that the pill was of a higher rank, the effects would naturally be better and faster. The fire element on my arm is gone, so the effects of the pill are better now. Lu Ming said. Lu Yuan stared at Lu Ming's arm. Previously, his arm would grow some new flesh, but it would be burnt to a crisp again. However, Lu Ming had no choice but to do so, or else the fire element would burn his bones and meridians. Seeing their own brother endure this kind of torture again and again, the Lu siblings were heartbroken. Lu Ming knew his sister's thoughts and used his other hand to pat her head, smiling and saying, don't worry, it won't happen this time. Lu Yuan nodded, her eyes filled with tears. Lu Ming's spirit was completely different from when they first met. It was as if he had come back to life. He bowed to Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang, saying, thank you for your help. However, we don't have anything to repay you anymore. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't like that Li Mu, so helping you is nothing. Sima Yue waved her hand carelessly. Furthermore, I said that I would give you the rhinoceros grass if you let me take a look at your injuries so you don't have to feel anything. Then I still have to thank you. Lu Ming said. Why are you able to stay in the central district? Sima Yue asked, successfully changing the topic. Lu Ming sighed, saying, although our Lu family has always been few in number, we are still considered an alchemy family. Our great-grandfather was once the great elder of the Alchemist Guild. Because of his profound attainments in alchemy, we were allowed to stay in the central district. However, our family was framed by the Li family and our great-grandfather died in an accident while refining pills. The other great-uncles also met with misfortune. Until now, only the 4 of us are left. Chapter 304. Lu Ming's words were simple, but Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang could see prosperity and decline from his words. Is the Li clan Li Mu's clan? Bei Gongtang asked. Yes. Lu Ming said, the Li family is a large family in the northern Yan kingdom, and is also an alchemy family. My great-grandfather was once at odds with the Li family. After he passed away, the Li family has been targeting us. So it's not a coincidence that Li Mu injured you this time. Sima Yue said while stroking her chin. Yes, because my talent is not bad, I entered the Alchemist Guild. But after I entered, I was constantly suppressed by Li Mu and was even injured by him. When Lu Ming mentioned Li Mu, anger flashed across his face. By the way, isn't this your first time in Xing City? Why are you at odds with Li Mu? When we were at Dragon Reflection Mountain, he brought people to cause trouble for us. I gave him a good beating. Sima Yue said, no, I beat up his follower Wu Feng so badly that even his mother couldn't recognize him. Then I beat him in alchemy. You defeated Li Mu? Lu Ming exclaimed. Yeah, it's a piece of cake. Sima Yue said. Lu Ming and his sister looked at her as if she was a monster. They grew up in Xing City and naturally knew Li Mu's strength. She actually defeated him so easily. How powerful was she? I saw that there were many traces of movement outside. What's going on? Bei Gongtang asked. It's all because of those bad people. They wanted us to hand over our family's secret alchemy technique. We couldn't take it out, so they said that we hid it in these things. They took away all of our fake mountains and furniture. Other than these few stools, everything else was taken away. Lu Yun said hatefully. Who are those people? Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang were speechless. No wonder there was nothing here. Who else could it be? It's Li Mu's henchmen. Lu Ming clenched his fists. One day I will trample them all under my feet. Let's return all the humiliation they gave us. Aren't those people afraid of Big Brother? Every time Big Brother goes out to find medicinal ingredients for Second Brother, they would come and snatch our things, wanting to drive us out of Sacred City. Xia Yuan said, but why haven't they come back yet? Could something have happened? Don't worry, they'll be fine, Sima Yue said confidently. Sima Yulu and the others contracted beasts were very fast as well. They should be able to stop him. Bang! The Lu family's main door was suddenly kicked open. A few ruffians came in from outside and said, Lu family, have you thought it through? Are you going to hand over the secret technique or not? Those people are here again. Lu Yun stomped her feet and ran out. When she saw them, she scolded, you guys are here again. What are you doing here? You've already robbed everything from our house. We didn't get anything from you, so of course we have to come. You guys are despicable. Say it, are you going to hand it over or not? The leader asked. I've already told you a few hundred times. We don't have it. If you want to find trouble, we'll keep you company. Lu Yun said domineeringly. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Since you're not willing to hand it over, we'll continue to move things back to study it. We don't have anything left for you to move. Is that so? The leader looked around and realized that there was nothing left in the courtyard. Finally, his gaze landed on the house, saying, come, tear down the house and bring it back. Who dares? Lu Ming came out from the house and glared at them. The few of them saw that the injury on Lu Ming's hand had already healed and were surprised. However, they smiled. I didn't think that your hand would actually heal. Looks like you found a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. However, Lu Ming, even if you've healed, you're not our opponent. I advise you to quickly hand over the secret technique and get out of Sacred City. If you do, we can spare your life. What if I don't hand it over? Lu Ming said coldly. If you don't hand it over, we'll tear down your house today. After that, we'll cripple you and throw you out. Such arrogance. Sima Yue snorted coldly. She and Bei Gongtang walked out and were seen by the leader. His eyes immediately widened and his saliva flowed out. It's fine if you don't hand it over today. Give that woman to us and we'll go back. We'll give you a few days to consider. Don't even think about it. Lu Ming scolded. You've got guts, daring to have ideas about your great aunt. Bei Gong Tang snorted coldly. Beauty, it's better for you to come with us. You'll only be able to stay in Sacred City if you come with us. The man looked at Bei Gong Tang lecherously. You want me to go with you? Bei Gong Tang's cold gaze was as if she was looking at a few dead people, saying, I'm afraid that if I dare to go with you, you won't be able to live with me. Sima Yue walked over and hugged Bei Gong Tang's waist, saying, I hate it the most when people covet my woman. Do you think I should gouge out your eyeballs or cripple you and throw you out? Aha, such arrogance. In Sacred City, not many people dare to say such things. The man laughed loudly. The lackeys behind him also laughed. Is that so? Then you'll hear it today. Sima Yue said, It doesn't matter if you're here to rob the Lu family or to take my woman away. It's best that you leave before I get angry. The man was stunned by Sima Yue's aura. However, he was still a local. Thinking about his own background, he calmed down and said, Brat, I'm Li Mu's subordinate. If you dare to make a move against us, are you trying to go against Li Mu? Sima Yue looked at the sky and said, Since you don't cherish the chance I gave you, then I'll grant you your wish. After she finished speaking, she moved. Before anyone could react, she was already in front of them. She lifted her leg and kicked those people. Peng, 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 those people were all kicked to the ground. Each of them held their stomachs and cried out in pain. Sima Yue walked over and stepped on the leader's stomach, saying, I hate two things now. The first is when people have ideas about me and the people around me. The second is when people say that they're Li Mu's men in front of me. Do you understand? Brat, if you have the ability, tell me your name. If you dare to not put Li Mu in your eyes, you won't be able to stay in Sacred City anymore. That person said with a grimace. Is that so? Then go back and tell Li Mu that I, Sima Yue, am here. Hurry up and call me boss. Scram. After she finished speaking, she kicked all of them out. Brat, just you wait. Those people shouted and ran away. Junior brother, you're really rude. A gentle voice came from the roof. Chapter 305. Sima Yue clapped her hands and looked at the person on the rooftop. Why are you here? I was passing by and happened to hear your voice, so I came to see what was going on. Otherwise, when I see Master saying that you were bullied, I, as your senior brother, won't stand up for you. Wu Lingyu came down from the roof and said with a smile. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. She did not believe him. Who is this? Lu Ming asked when he saw Wu Lingyu's extraordinary bearing, noble and holy. I'm his senior Wu Lingyu, Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Wu Lingyu? This name sounds familiar. Lu Yun tilted her head and thought. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was startled. With a straight face, he bowed towards Wu Lingyu and said, Greetings, Your Highness the Holy Sun. No need. Wu Lingyu waved his hand. Holy Sun? I remember now. That day when third brother came back, he said that a holy sun had come up. So it was you. Lu Yun said in surprise. I never thought that we would be able to see holy sun with our own eyes. Wu Lingyu nodded at her, then looked at Sima Yue and asked, Junior, why are you here? Sima Yue told him what had happened, which made Wu Lingyu frown. Your Highness Holy Sun, young Master Sima, young Mistress Bei Gong, let's go inside, Lu Ming said, embarrassed to let them stand in the courtyard. They did not expect Sima Yue to be Wu Lingyu's junior. Since she had such a strong background, they were not worried that she would be harmed by Li Mu. Wait, someone's coming. Go in after you're done. Sima Yue replied. Before the siblings could react, a group of people kicked the door open and barged in. Who is Sima Yue? Come here and die. The person shouted as soon as he entered. Seeing the people in the courtyard, he asked, Which one of you is Sima Yue? You've called for reinforcements so quickly. Sima Yue looked at the people behind them. You dare to bring people here to cause trouble? Looks like I didn't beat you up to your heart's content. The leader of the group looked at Sima Yue and said, Don't be smug. Now that my big and big are here, they'll kill you. As soon as they ran out of here, they saw their boss after 2 streets. They told him about how they were beaten up, and their boss immediately rushed over with his men. Calm Sima Yue. You. I'll take you down first. The leader condensed his spiritual energy as he spoke. He was a spiritual grandmaster. Sima Yue moved and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye, kicking him out as well. Bang. Yue. Everyone was dumbfounded. Their big boss couldn't even take one hit from her? Sima Yue didn't look at their big boss. She chopped, slashed, kicked and stomped. More than a dozen people were all taken down by her within a minute. She clapped her hands and looked down at them condescendingly. I told you, you're not strong enough to kill me. Who's causing trouble in my house? A rough roar came from outside the door. Then a figure rushed in. Big brother. Lu Yuan shouted happily when she saw the person who came in. Second brother, fourth sister, are you okay? Luffy saw the people in the courtyard and knew that they were here to cause trouble again. These people always came to cause trouble when he wasn't around. By the time he came back, his younger siblings were already being bullied. Big brother, we're fine. Didn't you meet third brother and the others? Lu Yuan asked. I did, Luffy said. If he hadn't met them, he might not have been able to walk out of 10,000 Beast Mountain. Just as he finished speaking, Lu Yuan also ran in. Seeing the figures on the ground, he said in surprise, Second brother, are you okay? We're fine. Lu Ming shook his head. These people are here again. Lu Yuan kicked the people on the ground twice. Then, Sima Yulu and the others came in from outside. When they saw the people in the courtyard, they frowned. Second brother, your hand is better? Lu Yuan saw that Lu Ming's hand was no longer black and ran over happily. Yes. It's already healed. Lu Ming smiled. He thought that he would have to break his own arm. He didn't expect that it would be better. This made him very happy. What do we do with these people? Luffy kicked the person beside him and asked. Cripple them and throw them out. Sima Yu said. You dare. The leader shouted. We're Li Mu's men. You dare to touch us? Are you looking to die? They're all Li Mu's dogs indeed. Sima Yu sneered. I said it just now. I hate it when people tell me that they're Li Mu's dogs. I can't touch the people from the Alchemist Guild, but can't I touch you? They usually bully the weak and outsiders in Saint City. They've done a lot of bad things. Cripple them and stop them from doing bad things. Lu Yuan said. I think so too. I've wanted to do this for a long time. Luffy walked over and said. Aren't you Li Mu's dogs? I want to see how good your master will treat you. After speaking, he stepped on their abdomens and crippled them. Third brother, come, throw them out. Yes, big brother. The two brothers threw all the people out and closed the door with a bang. Those people were all lying on the ground. They couldn't believe that they were crippled. More and more people came to watch. When they saw the people lying on the ground, they were all shocked. How could it be them? Aren't they Li Mu's men? Heavens, they even dare to touch Li Mu's men. The Lu brothers are really overturning the heavens. Hehe, if I were them, I would have overturned the heavens. Look at how they've been bullied all these years. That's true. This house is going to be emptied by them. What can they do? The elders in the family have all passed away. Now there are only 4 children left. How can they fight against the Li family? Sigh, these are the matters of the previous generations. Now these children have to bear the consequences. Now that they've crippled Li Mu's men, I'm afraid they'll take revenge on them. Sigh, what a bunch of pitiful children. Let's disperse. If anyone sees us here, we might even be implicated. The crowd left. No one went up to help the people on the ground. It was as if they didn't see anything. They had no choice but to call out their contracted beasts and let them carry them back. When Li Mu received the news that his men had been crippled, he was just coming out of the Li family's courtyard. At that time, his face was terrifyingly gloomy. They even dared to cripple his men. How bold. Who did you say was with them? His aura was terrifyingly low. The servant who came to report was so scared that his legs turned to jelly. He stammered, It's Sima Yue. She even sent someone to tell you to go over and call her boss. Chapter 306. The people behind Li Mu couldn't help but gasp when they heard the manservant's words. Who was this Sima Yue? How dare she speak to Li Mu like that? After hearing Sima Yue's name, Li Mu was silent for a while, then said to the manservant, Find someone to send those people out of Wanshou Mountain. After he finished speaking, he walked towards the Alchemist Guild. The atmosphere was so tense that no one dared to approach within 3 meters of him. That's the direction of the Alchemist Guild. Someone from the Li clan said. Isn't he going to look for Sima Yue? Are we just going to let this go? The Li family didn't know what was going on. It really wasn't his style to not get back at them. Only those few people from the Alchemist Guild knew the reason. If he were to look for Sima Yue now, he would have to call her boss, not to mention get back at her. This was because he had lost the bet. Sima Yue and the rest stayed at the Lu residence for a while longer before leaving. She did not expect that Wu Lingyu would actually want to go back with her. Why are you going back with me? Sima Yue glared at Wu Lingyu. Of course it's to escort you back safely, Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Forget it, it's not safe for me to go out with you. Sima Yue refused. Look at what you're saying. You're the junior brother and I'm the senior brother. How could it not be safe? I'm not going to do anything to you. Or do you want to do something to me? Wu Lingyu looked at her with some fear. Sima Yue was speechless. What was this guy talking about? If I go out with you, I'll definitely be in the eye of the storm. I don't like being watched like a monkey. You should hurry back on your own, Your Highness Holy Son. Sima Yue stretched forth a hand and pushed Wu Lingyu away. When the Lu family members heard the conversation between Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu, they couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. This pair of senior and junior brothers were too weird. In the end, Wu Lingyu did not leave with Sima Yue. He left before Sima Yue's face darkened. Lu Ming, are you really not coming with us to the Sima family? Sima Yue and the others asked the four brothers again. No matter what, this is our home. Lu Ming said, and I think Li Mu has the time to make trouble for us. As long as he doesn't come in person we can handle it. Alright then, be careful. When Sima Yue and the rest returned to the Sima family, the news of them crippling Li Mu's men had already spread to several districts. Not bad, we've just arrived and our Sima family has become famous in Saint City. Sima Yang teased. Sima Yue directly walked over and found a place to sit down, saying, We've gone against the Alchemist Guild this time. Do you want to get rid of me? Otherwise I'll bring trouble to the family. Chi. Sima Yang rolled his eyes at her, saying, I've already asked Uncle Ren. Our relationship with the Alchemist Guild has never been good. There's no need to take this to heart. I initially wanted to run away, but now it seems like I don't have to. Sima Yue said with a smile. Sima Yang's eyes twitched. This guy, she was so arrogant just because he said she was fat. The Li family of the Northern Yan Kingdom has always been at odds with our family. When you go out, you have to be careful of their tricks. He warned. Got it. Sima Yue waved her hands, saying, Yu Yang, I only realized today that you're a bit of a busybody. You're always nagging. It's better to be a quiet pretty boy like Yulin. This time even Sima Yulin, who was at the side, could not remain calm. Was this guy teasing them? If there's nothing else, I'm going to rest. Sima Yue saw the way the two of them were acting and secretly laughed before leaving. On this day, everyone was talking about how Li Mu's underlings had been crippled. Everyone was curious as to why he had given up this time and did not say anything. Later on, everyone found out about the competition at Dragon Reflection Mountain and sighed that someone had actually defeated Li Mu. He was only 22 years old, what a strange talent. 2 days later, the Sima family came to Saint City. The moment they arrived, they heard that Sima Yue had defeated Li Mu. Each and every one of the old guys was extremely happy, feeling proud that their family had such a strange talent. It's a good thing that we didn't fall out with him. Otherwise, this strange talent wouldn't be part of the Sima family. This was what many of the Sima family members were thinking. These few days, the first and second-rate powers came to Saint City. Everyone heard about Sima Yue and was curious about this person. These old guys were different from the young ones. They naturally knew that Li Mu was talented in alchemy. Now that he had been defeated by someone younger than him, when did the Sima family have such a treasure? Following that, Sima Yue's affairs were pulled out one by one. She came from Dongqing Kingdom, caused a ruckus in the Sima family, helped Ouyang Fei take down South Eclipse Kingdom and defeated Li Mu at Dragon Reflection Mountain. These few days, when Sima Yue went out, she realized that she was being watched like a monkey. Everyone was pointing at her and it made her very depressed. As such, she decided not to go out before the competition and went into seclusion to cultivate. Originally, she thought that she would be able to leave this place peacefully. However, she didn't expect that the things that happened afterwards would make her interested in the creatures at the bottom of 10,000 Beast Mountain. On this day, Sima Yue hadn't come out of seclusion when she suddenly felt a wave of spiritual energy. She quickly stopped cultivating and opened the door to go out. Master, you're back. Sima Yue saw the little bird in Old Man Devil's arms and cried out in surprise. Chongming? What happened to him? Go back to your house first. Old Man Devil originally wanted to give the Chongming to Sima Yue. However, when he remembered that she was a girl, he carried her in himself. Even if it was a male spirit beast, he couldn't just let his disciple carry it. Okay. Sima Yue moved aside and let them in. Old Man Devil placed the Chongming on Sima Yue's bed and said, I met him below. At that time he was already unconscious. I recognized him as your friend, so I saved him. Master, how is Chongming's injury? Sima Yue didn't know how to check on a spirit beast in beast form and asked. Old Man Devil was silent for a while and said, his injury is very serious. And it should be said that he can't be saved. He won't be able to wake up now. Rainbow, who had rushed over after sensing Chongming's aura, heard Old Man Devil's words and immediately landed on the ground, saying, no, nothing will happen to my husband. Sima Yue walked over and hugged Rainbow. She stroked the feathers on its back to comfort it and said, Master, is there no way to save him? Old Man Devil shook his head and said, his injury is too serious. All of his internal organs have been destroyed and his life has been cut off. There's no medicine that can save him. Sima Yue's heart trembled. Was there really no way? Wah, no, I don't want my husband to die. Rainbow struggled out of Sima Yue's arms and flew over to Chongming's side, crying loudly. Sima Yue looked at Chongming, who had already lost his life, and her heart throbbed in pain. This happened too quickly and she still couldn't accept it. Chapter 307. Sister, what should we do, Wu? Kaihong threw herself onto Chongming and cried. Sima Yue was also feeling terrible. She had seen it transform and lived with it for 2 years. Now that it was injured like this, she could not believe what she was seeing. She looked at Old Man Devil and asked, Master, is there really no way to save it? Seeing her insistence, Old Man Devil said, it's not that there's no way, it's just that it's too dangerous and might harm the person who saves him. What is it? Sima Yue asked. Contract. Old Man Devil said, its body no longer has any life force, so this is the only way. But it was precisely because of this that there were risks. If it succeeds, it will be reborn. If it fails, the person who contracts with it will suffer the backlash of the contract. This isn't a natal contract. Will it harm my life? Sima Yue asked. That won't happen. It's just that my strength might regress and my spiritual power might be damaged. However, it's impossible to predict the extent of the injuries. Old Man Devil said, so you have to think carefully. Sister. Kaihong looked at Sima Yue with pleading eyes. Sima Yue looked at the dying Chongming on the bed and said, since there's a way, we have to give it a try. Master, please stand guard for me later. Although he was supposed to protect her, he was actually supposed to save her life if she failed. Then I'll go find a beast tamer. Old Man Devil said. There's no need, Master. Sima Yue walked over and placed her hand on Chongming's head. She activated the art of taming beast and started taming it. She had been with Chongming for the past 2 years and had already become friends. She had thought of the possibility that Chongming would form a contract with her. Perhaps when she left the Yilin continent, he would accompany her as a friend. She had also thought of the possibility that they would part ways. However, she had never thought that they would form a contract under such circumstances. Chongming's consciousness was already in a coma. Although he tried to resist, he was very weak. Soon, Sima Yue defeated him. During the taming process, Chongming's aura was still declining, which made her very worried about whether she could save him. Sister. Rainbow looked at Sima Yue worriedly. He didn't want to lose Chongming and didn't want Sima Yue to get hurt. Sima Yue took a deep breath and looked at Rainbow. Don't worry. Then she began the contract. The light of the contract still shone down. Sima Yue tried to establish a connection between the two of them, but without the other party's agreement, the contract could not be completed. Chongming, open your mouth. Her consciousness called out in Chongming's body. Chongming, I know you're still here. Answer me. Chongming, you still have things you want to do. I know you still want to go up there. You still have things you can't let go of up there. Do you really want to go up here? Chongming, Kaihong is still young and needs protection. Didn't you promise her father to take care of her? If you leave like this, what will happen to her? Listen, Kaihong is crying so sadly. She's calling for you. Chongming, we've all gotten used to having you around for the past 2 years. I'm still waiting for you to bring me to wipe out those scums. Chongming, come back. We all need you. Sima Yue transmitted her thoughts to Chongming's mind, stimulating his silent consciousness. Ugh, the contract had lasted for too long. The power of the contract had begun to backfire and hurt her body. Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. But she was still holding on. Old Man Devil was surprised when he saw that Sima Yue was a beast tamer, but it was quickly replaced by worry. Now that he saw her hands, he wanted to ask her to stop, but his words were stuck in his throat because of the determination on her face. Kaihong was so scared that she forgot to cry when she saw the blood on Sima Yue's mouth. Chongming, do you really not want to continue walking with us? We're all waiting for you. Give us a reply. Chongming, I don't think I can hold on any longer. Chongming, are you willing to form a contract with me? Sima Yue felt that her consciousness was getting blurry. She didn't even know what she was saying. But suddenly, a weak voice seemed to split open the chaos and woke her up. I'm willing. Although it was weak, the laws of heaven and earth could still sense it. The contract formation finally completed and wrapped the two of them together. Success. Success. Kaihong shouted happily. Old Man Devil saw this change and his heart finally calmed down. Once the contract was formed, it ended very quickly. When the light dissipated, Chongming in his human form appeared in front of everyone again. He was carrying the unconscious Sima Yue in his arms. Sister. Kaihong started to cry again. The light of leveling up enveloped the two of them again. Chongming leveled up and became a level 3 sacred beast. Sima Yue leveled up from level 2 to level 5, a full 3 small levels. Old Man Devil felt sorry for Sima Yue. If Chongming wasn't injured and she didn't suffer the backlash of the contract, she would have leveled up even more. Kaihong flew to Chongming's shoulder and looked at the pale face of Sima Yue. She asked, Hubby, how did you recover so quickly? Is sister all right? Her situation is a bit serious. Chongming looked at Sima Yue with a pained expression. He knew how dangerous it was for her. He placed Sima Yue on the bed and turned to look at Old Man Devil. Why did hubby's injuries heal but not sister's? Kaihong didn't understand. Old Man Devil walked over to check on Sima Yue's condition. He said, Chongming's injuries were caused by an external force. When the contract was formed, they were all healed. However, Yue's injuries were caused by the backlash of the contract. That's why the contract didn't heal her. Then what do we do? The backlash of the contract can only be slowly healed. It depends on her own recovery. For an ordinary person, they should be able to recover in a year and a half. Old Man Devil said, she won't be able to cultivate for a year. Let's feed her some healing pills first. The news of Sima Yue's injuries quickly spread throughout the Sima family. Everyone felt sorry for her and was happy that she had formed a contract with a sacred beast. Knowing that she might not be able to cultivate for a year and a half, everyone felt sorry for her. Now was the best time for her to cultivate. A year's time was enough for her to improve a lot. However, Sima Yue's next actions made everyone's jaws drop. Didn't they say that she would be bedridden for a month? How did she get out of bed after 3 days? Didn't they say that she wouldn't be able to use spiritual energy for half a year? How did she start to use spiritual energy in less than half a month? Everyone was shocked by her. Even Old Man Devil felt that it was inconceivable. After asking again, Sima Yue told him that she had a divine demon physique that could heal injuries automatically. After knowing Sima Yue's situation, Old Man Devil went silent. He was crying in his heart. Why were all the disciples that he had taken in abnormal bodies? One had an incomplete soul and the other had a divine demon physique. Her life could be in danger at any time. Was he extremely lucky or extremely unlucky? Chapter 308. I will think of a way to find a solution for you. After knowing about Sima Yue's physique, Old Man Devil remained silent for a long time before saying this. Sima Yue felt warm inside when she saw his serious expression. Master, don't worry. Amo Sha said that he had the same physique back then and survived in the end. Sima Yue comforted her, so I think he has a way. He also has the God Devil body? Old Man Devil asked in surprise. Sima Yue nodded and said, Amo Sha said that he was also a human back then and had the body of a god and devil. Later on he became a devil. Outsiders know very little about the Supreme Demon King's life. I didn't expect there to be such a big secret. Old Man Devil sighed, but now that you have a contract he probably won't harm you. The method he told you should be useful. Maybe. Sima Yue said uncertainly, he said that I'm not strong enough and hasn't told me the solution yet. Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yue speechlessly, then said, I'll keep an eye out for you and let you know if there's anything I can do. If you need anything, just let me know. After the grand meeting, your senior brother and I will return to the surface. You have to hurry up and cultivate so that you can ascend as soon as possible. I will. Sima Yue said. If you cultivate slowly like this, how long will it take before you can go up? Wu Lingyu suddenly appeared at the door, looking down on her current strength. Sima Yue looked at him and rolled her eyes at him. However, she was sharp enough to sniff out the meaning behind his words. She blinked her eyes at him and asked, Are you saying that there is a way to quickly increase my strength? You're going to get a cramp if you blink again. Wu Lingyu walked over and patted her head. I'm still injured, I'm going to die if you continue to pat me. Sima Yue slapped his hand away and said, Is there a way to increase my strength? Master. Old Man Devil thought for a moment and said, There's no way to improve overnight. If you forcefully increase your strength, it will only cause your foundation to be unstable. Sima Yue naturally understood this as well. Therefore, whenever she leveled up quickly, she would train to strengthen her strength so that she would not be weak. I'm not talking about those methods, Wu Lingyu said. Other than those methods, what else is there? Old Man Devil didn't understand what he meant. Wu Lingyu glanced at Old Man Devil and said, Why do I feel like you've become dumber after coming here? Old Man Devil slapped him and roared, You've got guts, you dare to look down on me? Wu Lingyu moved and gracefully dodged his evil claws. Old Man Devil suddenly thought of something and said, You're saying to let her go there? That's right. Wu Lingyu nodded. That place is not bad, but as far as I know, the Yilin continent does not have an entrance. Old Man Devil said. How can that be a problem for you? Wu Lingyu glanced at Old Man Devil as if he was sure that he would have a way. Calculating also requires energy. Old Man Devil said, But if we can open that place, it would be a good way to increase our strength. As far as I know, that place reappeared recently. Old man, you'd better hurry up. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue looked at the two of them talking about something she didn't understand and asked, What place are you talking about? It's a small world. Old Man Devil said. Small world? What's that? Sima Yue asked. To put it simply, it's a very large paradise that exists in the space. Wu Lingyu explained, These small worlds come in different sizes and move around in the void. Some appear periodically between continents. A very large blessed enclave? How big is that? Sima Yue looked at the two of them curiously. The big ones can be comparable to half a continent. Old Man Devil said, The small ones can be as big as a house. What's the difference between those places and the paradise? Sima Yue asked. She had passed by the Sima family's land before and it was a paradise, but it looked incomplete. The paradise is just an incomplete space, while the small worlds are the same as the continents outside. Everything is complete, but it exists in a special space and has not always existed. Wu Lingyu said. Moreover, many of those small worlds were left behind from ancient times. There are many heavenly treasures inside, and because they only appear once in a while, the things inside have been there for a long time. For example, many of the medicinal herbs are old. Old Man Devil added. I don't lack herbs. Sima Yue was not interested. That's not the main point. The main point is that those small worlds have rich spiritual energy, and there are some treasured lands. If you find one, it's not impossible for you to become a spirit paragon. Old Man Devil said. There are such good places. Sima Yue was interested. Can anyone go to those places? Of course not. Wu Lingyu explained patiently, every small world has its own rules just like here. Those who come from the primordial lands and above can only use the strength of a spirit paragon. Those small worlds also have their own rules. What rules? Sima Yue crossed her legs and supported her head with her hands. Some limit one's strength, some limit one's age, and some limit one's strength and age. I know about the age limit, but does it mean that you can only use the strength of a spirit paragon? Sima Yue pondered. Yes, so it's like that. Then what about the small world you were talking about? The ones who came out this time are limited. Wu Lingyu said, Every continent has an entrance, but there's a limit to the number of people who can enter, so not everyone can go. I think the small world will appear soon. Every continent? Are there many continents? Sima Yue asked. Yes, there are many continents like yours in the world, and you're just one of them. Old Man Devil said. Sima Yue was shocked, such a big continent was just one of them, then this world was much bigger than Earth. But thinking about it, Earth had 7 continents and 4 oceans, so it made sense that there were many continents here. Why have I never heard Grandpa and the others mention this? She pouted, it seemed like no one knew about the small worlds. I don't know why, but this place is called the prison continent. The whole continent is like a prison, so there are many things you can't come into contact with. Speaking of this, Wu Lingyu and Old Man Devil sighed. It was rare for a continent like this to have a genius like her. The corner of Sima Yue's mouth twitched. It was the prison continent again? This time it was the whole continent that was a prison, are you kidding me? Chapter 309. Master, isn't this a continent? How did it become a prison? Sima Yue was speechless. I didn't know before, but I do understand now. Old Man Devil said, it's probably because there are ferocious beasts here, so they have to seal this place. Even if they escape, they won't be able to harm the other continents. You mean the one below the 10,000 Beast Mountain? Sima Yue sat up straight and asked Old Man Devil, Master, I haven't asked you before. What did you see in the lake? Do you see that creature? Maybe. Old Man Devil's expression turned serious as he said, actually, I haven't seen the creature. What? This time, not only was Sima Yue surprised, even Wu Lingyu looked serious. Old man, are the creatures below really that powerful? Old Man Devil nodded and said, I think that creature must have been a very powerful character back then. Even now I can't beat it. Even its aura makes me feel fear. The closer I get, the more I feel that way. So powerful. Sima Yue's jaw dropped. Wu Lingyu was even more surprised than Sima Yue because he knew how powerful Old Man Devil was. If even Old Man Devil said so, then what was down there? Actually, I feel like I've only walked half the distance. Old Man Devil said, I don't know what's going on in Chongming. I found him at the limit of what I could bear, but he actually made it there. Master, don't scare me. This thing is so powerful. If it comes out one day, we'll be done for. Sima Yue said. Don't worry, it'll be a while before it comes out. You won't be able to touch it for now. Old Man Devil said. Since it's still early, don't think about this right now. You should think about going to the little realm, Wu Lingyu said. It was useless for her to know this now, and it would even affect her state of mind during cultivation. Speaking of the little realm, Sima Yue felt gloomy again. This was actually a place of imprisonment. The entire continent was like this and the space was sealed. This caused them to lose a lot of cultivation resources. It was so unfair. Since you said that there is no entrance to this continent, how am I supposed to enter? You idiot, don't you know who I am? Old Man Devil said, even if there isn't an entrance, I can find one for you. Master is mighty and domineering. Sima Yue flattered with a smile. How could she not know that Old Man Devil and the others had already told her about this matter? Naturally, they would think of a way for her. It was just that she had always been used to it. Every time, she would think of a way by herself, or she would bring Fatty Chu and the others along. Now that someone had thought of her and created the conditions for her to cultivate, she was really touched. Wait here, I'll go back and take a look. As Old Man Devil spoke, he formed a seal with both hands, and a tunnel appeared in front of him. As soon as he entered, the tunnel closed. Master has returned to the primordial lands? Sima Yue said enviously. When you're strong enough, you can also build such a passage. Wu Lingyu said, now, I'll give you some information about those continents and small realms. All right. After listening to the information that Wu Lingyu gave her, Sima Yue finally understood how terrible their continent was. She felt that the spiritual energy in the four great empires was dense enough, but Wu Lingyu said that this was the continent with the thinnest spiritual energy he had ever seen. She felt that her level was rising fast enough, but Wu Lingyu said that the people from other continents were not much slower than her. True talent depended on one's level after the divine rank. This was because many people with good talent needed a long time to rise a small level after reaching the divine rank. However, some people were very strong and there were many young experts like Wu Lingyu. Sima Yue was a little discouraged. She used to think that she was very strong, but now she felt that she was still at the bottom. Don't be discouraged, your battle strength is already unparalleled in the same stage. Adding on your contracted beasts, you can do whatever you want in the small realms. Wu Lingyu said. What do you mean by do whatever I want? I'm not a crab. Sima Yue glared. Alright, I've already told you what I wanted to tell you. Do you have any other questions? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Sima Yue asked, will those people from other continents go to the primordial lands in the end? Yes. Then aren't there many people in the primordial lands? Won't it be crowded? The primordial lands are bigger than you can imagine. You'll know when you get there. All right. Her answer was the same as not answering. Do you have any other questions? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Speak. Why are you so nice to me? Do you want me to not hold a grudge against you? Wu Lingyu was silent for a while. How could he tell her that he wanted her to grow faster so that she could go to the primordial lands earlier? Because if you don't go up earlier, the old man will be forced to find a successor. Wu Lingyu found a better excuse. Do you have any other questions now? No, you can leave now. Sima Yue waved her hand to send him off and lay down to rest. Wu Lingyu saw Sima Yue ignoring him in the blink of an eye and wanted to punish her. However, he thought that it would scare her, so he left obediently. Of course, in order to avoid arousing suspicion, He climbed over the wall like how he came. Sima Yue laid on the bed, tossing and turning as she thought about the news she received today. She hurt too much today and needed to digest it properly. Thinking about what Wu Lingyu said about the other continents, she sat up and said, even if those people are strong, I'm not weak either. Why should I let this affect my mood? Even if I meet them, I'll take care of them if they dare to provoke me. After thinking it through, she laid down again and continued to think about these things. I didn't think that the entire continent was a prison. It was really depressing. I wonder when that little world will open. I want to see the geniuses of the other continents. When can I be like Master and Senior Brother, who can build a tunnel with a wave of his hand and go wherever he wants to go? Sigh, thinking about all these is pointless. I'd better cultivate properly. Chongming, that guy. My injuries haven't healed yet, but he's gone missing all day. Where did he bring my little rainbow to? I really miss her. Creak, the door was pushed open and Bei Gong Tang walked in with food. She smiled. I heard you muttering outside the door. You must be bored because you can't cultivate. Sima Yue smelled the food and sat up on the bed saying, you guys aren't here to accompany me. I'm bored to death. Bei Gong Tang placed the food on the table and said with disdain, as far as I know, your master and senior brother were here not long ago. I'm bored now that they're gone. Sima Yue walked over and picked up her chopsticks to eat. Oh right, what have you guys been busy with recently? Why don't I see you guys all day? Chapter 310. We didn't do much, we just walked around. The event is about to start, so many people came. The city is very lively. Disloyal brat, I'm recuperating here but you guys are playing outside. Sima Yue complained. Bei Gong Tang smiled, knowing that she was just saying it and wouldn't take it to heart. Alright, I heard that Ouyang will be here tomorrow. Really? Isn't the event about to start? Sima Yue asked. There's still 3 days, you'll probably miss it. Bei Gong Tang said. I won't. Sima Yue said confidently. She was clear about her own body. Although her injuries weren't light, with the Divine Devil Body's automatic recovery, in addition to the pills and spirit fluid, her injuries were recovering at a godly speed. Now she was almost fully recovered, but for the sake of her body she still wanted to rest for 2 more days. Alright, do you really know where that guy from Chongming brought Rainbow? I haven't seen that guy since I woke up. I heard that he told your master that he was bringing Rainbow back to the clan. Bei Gong Tang said, but I don't know where they went. Back to the clan? Sima Yue almost choked on her food. Where's Rainbow's clan? They've been gone for so long and still haven't returned. The Yilin continent doesn't have a Phoenix clan, so I think they should have gone to the upper realm. Bei Gong Tang guessed. When I was in the upper realm, I heard that there was a Phoenix clan. They went to the upper realm. Sima Yue fiercely took a bite of her drumstick. One by one they all ran to the upper realm, vomiting. On the second evening, someone came to the Sima family. As the Wangya of South Yu, Sima Yue's good friend, Ouyang Fei was directly brought to Sima Yue's courtyard. Sima Yue, who was lying on the bed, looked at Ouyang Fei. She was listless and Ouyang Fei couldn't help but frown. You're injured so badly? It's not serious, but they wouldn't let me out when I wanted to go out. You're the best, coming to see me as soon as you arrive. Sima Yue got up from the bed and went to the living room with Ouyang Fei. Ouyang Wangya, how does it feel to be Wangya? Sima Yue smiled and made him a cup of tea. Seeing her use flames to boil water, Ouyang Fei said, didn't you say you can't use spiritual aura? I could have used it a long time ago, but it's better to use it less now. But I can still make a cup of tea. Sima Yue said. You're always so restless. Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue helplessly. I heard about you as soon as I arrived. I even heard that the Li family and the Nalan family are going to attack you. That's expected. Sima Yue was not surprised. The two families had been rivals for a long time. I also met someone else. This person will definitely surprise you. Ouyang Fei said. Oh, Nalan Lan. Nalan Lan? Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei in surprise and asked, why is she here? Are you sure it's her? I'm sure. Ouyang Fei nodded his head affirmatively. Because the courtyard in South Yu Kingdom is not far from the Nalan family. I saw her on the way here today and thought she looked like her. So I sent someone to investigate. Guess what happened? What happened? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. This guy had resolved the knot in his heart and was not as cold and arrogant as before. Yet he could still say such things. That person is indeed Nalan Lan. She came from the Dongqin Kingdom. So I think it must be that Nalan Lan. Ouyang Fei said. Isn't she in the Dongqin kingdom? How did she come here? Sima Yue did not understand. It said that the Nalan family found her when they went to the Dongqin kingdom. They said that her physique was special and brought her back to the central Wu kingdom. They even said that they had successfully activated her physique and her strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Ouyang Fei said. When was she brought here? Sima Yue asked. It said that it was 3 years ago. She came here a year earlier than us. Ouyang Fei replied. That means that when we were still in the Sophia mountain range she had already come here. Sima Yue said. Why haven't we heard any news about her in these 2 years? Because she was previously hidden and was only released recently. Maybe it's because her physique has been activated and she can be released now. Ouyang Fei guessed. Sima Yue heard Ouyang Fei's analogy and laughed out loud. I heard that she once said that she wanted to defeat you. She originally wanted to fight with you in this competition. But in the end you didn't even participate. Ouyang Fei said. If you had participated, this competition would have become the best stepping stone for you to become famous in the continent. I'm only the adopted son of the Sima family. It's not proper for me to participate in this competition. Sima Yue said. And I don't have a single cent of interest in becoming famous in the continent. I'm too lazy to be a monkey for others to see. Ouyang Fei smiled. He understood her personality and was not surprised by her answer. Thinking about what Wu Lingyu and the others said, she continued, This world is very big. It's much bigger than what we imagined. We're just a small corner of the world. We belong to the tip of the iceberg. The world is very big but we're still young. In the future we'll have the chance to explore the world. Ouyang Fei said. Since you're fine, I'll go back first. Mother and the others are still waiting for me to go back and settle some matters. Ouyang Fei said. If you have any matters, just look for me directly. Okay. He had just arrived today and must have many things to do. Knowing that she was injured and coming to see her immediately, she was already very happy. 2 days later, the festival officially began. The whole city celebrated, but the previous celebration lasted for an entire day. Sima Yue stayed until the celebration started. On the way out, she met the 4 Lu Ming brothers and brought them to watch the performances. Previously, she had always thought that the festival was a competition between the various powers. Now she understood that this was only one part of the festival. To be exact, the festival was held once every 5 years, and the ranking of the powers was only held once every 20 years. And those events were actually just a competition that gathered the various professions from the entire continent. When the celebration ended, the temple lord announced the arrangements. The first competition would be the ranking of the powers, followed by the competition between the various professions. The number of participants from each clan had already been reported. There were no specific people, so the number of matches would be arranged accordingly. Sima Yue was not interested in these and left the plaza before it ended. When she walked outside, she saw a familiar figure. The 2 of them were stunned. Long time no see. Nalan Lan greeted her first. Although she was smiling, the smile did not reach her eyes. They were ice cold. Sima Yue also smiled and said, I didn't expect to meet you here. Why are you alone? Where's your Murongin? Chapter 311. Nalan Lan never thought that Sima Yue would directly ask such a question and her expression darkened. However, she immediately smiled and said, He has nothing to do with me anymore. If you want to understand his situation, you can go back to the Dongqin kingdom to take a look. Forget it, I'm afraid that he'll beat me to death when I go back. Sima Yue shrugged. Speaking of which, you should be thanking me. If I didn't happen to discover it and wake you up in time, you would still be in the dark. Yes, I should thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have hardened my heart to leave that place, come here, and encounter such a good thing. Nalan Lan said, After coming here, I realized that those things in the past were nothing at all. My life has just begun. Therefore, I will definitely thank you properly. Sure. Sima Yue put on a fake smile. I heard that you're very powerful now. Originally, I wanted to have a good spar with you. I didn't expect that you wouldn't participate in the competition. What a pity. As she spoke, Nalan Lan made a regretful expression. Sometimes, regret is the most beautiful thing. Otherwise, when you find out the truth, you won't even be able to cry. Sima Yue pointed out. It's possible. Nalan Lan said, I still have something to do, so I won't be catching up with you. With that, she walked past Sima Yue and entered the square. Bei Gong Tang followed behind Sima Yue and overheard their conversation. She waited for Nalan Lan to leave before walking over, saying, "Don't you feel that Nalan Lan gives off a different feeling than before?" Sima Yue glanced at Bei Gong Tang and asked, "You realized it too? Doesn't it look very holy?" "That's right, it seems to be similar to the people from the Sage Pavilion." "Oh, it's about the same as your senior brother in front of others," Bei Gong Tang said. The two of them talked about their feelings as they walked. "Don't talk about my senior brother, he's just pretending to be holy," Sima Yue said, "but Nalan Lan is indeed a little like him when he's pretending. It's a pity that her kung fu is not good enough. Although she exudes such an aura, she doesn't hide her eyes well." "Most people don't have eyes as sharp as yours," Bei Gong Tang said. "It's possible. Look at those people. Don't they think she's unattainable?" Sima Yue turned around to take a look. Nalan Lan was surrounded by a group of people. She smiled at them, and the aura she emitted made people want to worship her. Bei Gong Tang naturally saw it as well and said, "Could it be that the change in her aura has something to do with her physique?" "Very likely." Sima Yue said, "Lotus physique. Maybe it's a physique similar to a lotus, but who knows? Let's go. Those guys are still watching the show. Let's go back first." "All right. Bei Gong, have you heard of other continents?" Sima Yue thought for a while and asked. "Other continents? Are you talking about the Fengyun continent and the Flawless continent?" Bei Gong Tang asked. "You know about it," Sima Yue said. Thinking about it, Bei Gong Tang was someone from the top after all. It was normal for her to know. "I only know of these two," Bei Gong Tang said, "but I heard that there are many continents." "Then why did you choose the Yilin continent?" Sima Yue was a little suspicious. It would be better to go to other continents than here. Bei Gong Tang smiled bitterly and shook her head, saying, "At that time, we were surrounded and attacked. Eunuch Nyang tried her best to open up a path. How could she have thought of where it would lead to? But luckily we came here. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be here now. Because the space here is the biggest. If you want to come to this continent, you have to pay a higher price. Those people weren't strong enough, so they didn't dare to fight like Eunuch Nyang. That's why we managed to escape," Bei Gong Tang said. "Eunuch Nyang's injury was caused at that time?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes." Bei Gong Tang said, "Why did you think of asking about those continents?" "I heard Master say it last time. Only then did I know that we're not the only low-level continent. I was a little surprised," Sima Yue said. She thought about it but decided not to tell them about the little realm. She would only tell them after she confirmed it. Otherwise they would be happy for nothing. Although Bei Gong Tang was from the upper realm, she wasn't very old when she left. In addition, she didn't have much contact with the outside world. Naturally, she didn't know about the little realm. So when she heard Sima Yue say this, she thought that she was curious because she just found out about these places. The two of them walked on the streets. Looking at the excited people everywhere, they shook their heads. This event has nothing to do with them. Why are they so excited? Bei Gong Tang didn't understand. Some people just like to watch this kind of excitement. Although it has nothing to do with them, they just like to join in. Sima Yue said. No matter if it was the past world or the present world, there was no lack of people who liked to watch the excitement. Every time she would just watch coldly from the sidelines. She wouldn't join in on good or bad things. Suddenly she felt something. She raised her head and looked to the left. A figure was standing on the rooftop. Seeing her, he came down. "I'm back." Chongming didn't know why, but when he saw Sima Yue, he subconsciously said this sentence. Since when did he treat her as his home? Sima Yue punched him on the shoulder. She curled her lips and said angrily, "Where did you run off to? You took so long to come back. Where's Rainbow?" Chongming saw Sima Yue's angry little face. In his mind, he thought of her pale face in his arms. After forming a contract, he found out that she was a girl. Seeing her get hurt because of him, he felt an indescribable sense of closeness. He smiled and said, "I sent her back to the clan. Is it in the upper realm?" Sima Yue retracted her hand. "Yes," Chongming said. "Why did you send her back? Isn't it good here?" "That's your wife," Sima Yue said. "It's good for her to go back." Chongming explained, "Her bloodline is recovering now. When she goes back to the clan, she can accept more things and develop her bloodline to the strongest." "Hasn't Rainbow been fine all this time? Why did her bloodline suddenly recover?" Chongming was stunned and said, "You wouldn't know about the things between us spirit beasts." Sima Yue thought about it and didn't ask any more questions. She continued to walk forward. Although Chongming walked with them, His heart flew to the day Sima Yue got hurt. That day Qian came out and saw Sima Yue injured. He knew why she got hurt. Although he emitted cold air, he didn't say anything. After confirming Sima Yue's condition, he saw Rainbow on the bed. He flew over and said, "She's a good seedling." After saying that, the egg emitted a crimson halo that enveloped Rainbow. Chongming realized that 2 drops of blood condensed from the eggshell and fell on Rainbow's body. In an instant, Rainbow's body emitted a dazzling light. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.